Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the KCM. We're here for the finals, Zerg versus Protoss, and it's all going to be kicking off here on Dominator. Really excited for this one. We're going to be entertaining you in between the round of 8 and round of 4 of ASL, which is going on right now. And I couldn't be happier. PVZ is going to be a lot of fun here, Shun.
Yeah, I really do love this matchup. I think it's kind of interesting. Like, I think Zerg versus Terran probably one of the more classic matchups of all time in terms of what excitement it can bring. But once Bisu sort of revolutionized how to play this matchup, it made it way more interesting. So I'm also glad to see him in that lineup here today as well. I would say that Zerg versus Terran is my favorite matchup to play, whereas Zerg versus Protoss is a little bit more interesting to watch sometimes.
Yeah, it's really cool to have Bisu, Soma, and Snow in this lineup. But we're going to be starting off with the Shuttle, Soma versus Shuttle. I'm very curious what the Protoss squad has sent Shuttle out with. Sometimes he can hold his own against these other pro players, but Soma's on a different level right now. I'm not sure he can quite keep up with this monster.
Yeah, I don't know how he's going to keep up with him, and then even if he somehow does get into a good position, how he's not going to throw it all away. I mean, he's one of these guys that seems to be able to lose unlosable situations, and sometimes I've even speculated that he's like a master troll that just has fun throwing games. I don't necessarily quite think that's true, but some of the stuff that I've seen this guy do from some of the positions I've seen him in is kind of miraculous. It's almost like you have to be that good to play that bad from that position, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the speculations are not without some merit, but we won't we won't give credence to those suspicions or those rumors.
It's good fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, I enjoy watching Shuttle play. I think there was quite a few seasons ago where I thought that this guy was going to be the next PVZ specialist, like the next PVZ master, the guy who we're going to look to. It was when he was busting out Reaver way faster than any other Protoss players. Like, he was getting onto 4 base and then immediately throwing down a couple of robos, or one robo at the 4th, and just pumping Reavers and making it look really strong and difficult to break. So I thought that he was going to go really, really far, but he is kind of a silly person. He's not really the type of guy who we expect to ever get another ASL title. It's funny that he even has one.
It's always like he plays up to it as well, because like sometimes like when he's like apologizing for throwing the game or something, he's almost like hiding a smile. It's almost like even if he's not doing it on purpose, he kind of enjoys doing it on some level. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of good clips of him throwing games in the Pro League, and the Pro League is a really high-quality tournament right now. There's a lot of money in some of those matches, and you can't win unless your team performs. So having Shuttle on your team, so many players lamenting at that recently, although he still continues to show up and somehow get into these Pro League lineups. I guess it's because he's got a good following and he has an ASL title. Like, you can't count him out of any best of one. Like, he can pull off some miracles, but he can also, you know, some pretty big throws have been had in that tournament as well.
Yeah, I'm sure many of the players lament when they have to play on his team in the K-League, but it is what it is. Going into this game, yeah, we got a normal Forge Fast expansion here from Shuttle. Everything looks pretty orthodox. We've also got a free hatchery spire from Soma. He took his first natural expansion at the 3rd to avoid being blocked. Everything looks pretty normal and traditional here thus far.
Did you see the Stargate in the natural? I guess he's trying to hide that from
that's weird. Yeah.
I wonder if, like, I guess he's trying to make him think there might be just a Citadel somewhere. I don't think he's gonna go double Stargate, is he?
I don't think so.
A lot of the time when you see the Stargate in the natural, they're trying to hide one of them. they end up going for double Stargate. We'll see if he ends up going that direction. There is a Spire on the way here, and Soma's mutas are incredibly scary. It would be nice for for Shuttle if he was able to get something like a hard counter double Stargate versus a Mutalisk opener. Maybe he could actually make that work, but I haven't seen much out of that recently. The double Stargate play has really fallen by the wayside, I think.
Yeah, I only really like it when you're going Reaver Ser, or you're like have the confirmation scout that it's like a really fast Mutalisk based play, and you can fully confirm that that's what they're doing. Then I think, yeah, sure, go for the double Stargate. But the reality is the Zerg can even fake you out. They can do like a 2-hatch muta build, but they only make 5 mutas, and then quickly throw down 2 hatcheries while they're doing all that, and quickly rotate into a 4-hatch pre-storm Hydra Bus. So if you read that and then go into double Stargate, you'll just die to the Hydra Bus. Like, there's a lot of ways it can kind of cripple you as a Protoss player by going for double Stargate, unless you're really darn sure they're going to be committing into those Mutalisks.
Well, he's scouted through. He's seen only a second gas here, no third gas, and he hasn't thrown down a second Stargate. Looks like it's just him trying to hide the fact that he's going for Corsair. I doubt that Soma's particularly surprised by that Corsair there, and he will have the Scourge out here shortly. Only losing 1 Overlord. Might be able to track another one down out on the map. Looks like he's found one over in the center left, so killing 2 Overlords is pretty nice. And it looks like he'll get back home as well. Scourge trying to catch these Corsairs on the retreat path. Can he actually get one? Beautifully done there. Beautifully done by Soma. Expect nothing less.
Wow, that's a big deal. And this is only a single Stargate weapon production, so that's going to be even more of a factor now. Shuttle in a little bit of trouble. It'll take him so much longer to get to a critical mass of Corsairs to scout. But I mean, another thing I like about the Stargate placement though is that it does cover the Corsairs from being harassed and sniped. Like, say that Stargate was in the main base and he had sniped that Corsair, well, now Soma could intercept those Corsairs over and over again as they tried to, you know, transit from the main to the natural. So I do like that Stargate placement. I think that was the idea of putting it there, not to hide it necessarily, but just to, you know, keep the production of them safe.
Yeah, that might be true. Usually you'll put 1 cannon in the main. It looks like he will put that down now, but he's able to delay that by a lot because of the placement there in the natural. Mutas are out now. It looks like just the commitment to 5 Mutalisks from Soma to push back these Zealots. Make sure that he doesn't take any damage from this initial timing. The cannons finish up. Oh, 1 hit on these Corsairs. The 1 Corsair goes down. The Mutas will be pushed back. Looks like he's going to shove in here with the Zealots. At the same time, 3 drones so far. Sunken Colony is hitting here. Can he get another couple of drones to make this worth? Looks like he might get 1 more if he targets down the low HP one, but this has been cleaned.
Yeah, that almost went good for Shuttle. Like, if he just get a teeny tiny bit more drone damage there, definitely. He's got another couple of Zealots heading into the 3rd base location, but there are some Zerglings and a Sunken there to buffer, so he's going to have to retreat with those. Dark Templar also trying to poke into the natural. I'm not sure what he's doing with that. That was a little bit too hopeful. He should know there's already a Sunken Noblords waiting for that. And because he's not been active with these Corsairs, he can't really make anything work for himself. Like, usually you want the Corsairs to come in and cause a bit of a nightmare for the Zerg, sometimes shutting down critical Overlord locations so that the DT can then come in the aftermath. But because of losing that first Corsair to the Scourge Snipe, and then another one with the dive to the main, he's never really had a strong count of Corsairs to challenge Soma in the sky, so he's just been sat inside his base. And even a Fly Carapace upgrade on these Zerg air units as well. Really feel like Soma has done a bit of a masterclass going into this mid-game thus far.
Definitely not the damage that we would hope Shuttle could get early to make this a really good game. I mean, if we're just talking about an even situation going into the mid and late game, Soma should be heavily favored in that type of situation. The plan here doesn't seem to have worked out. Now there's only 2 cannons in the main and a lot of mutas here ready to try and dive. That's definitely enough to kill 2 cannons. He's going to dive on the natural, try to get the Corsairs. 1 Corsair goes down. No Storm available here just yet, or at least he hasn't casted it. Another Corsair goes down. He is never going to get a good... Oh my gosh, another one. He's never going to get that good quality, number of Corsairs to be able to battle with Soma after losing, what now, 5 Corsairs?
Yeah, quite a lot. I'm a little bit concerned for Shadow. Like, he has to just expand or something and try and play a more macro-centric game. He has no air control whatsoever, so it's going to be really tough for him to do anything now, because he'll have a hard time even just escorting these High Templars around the map without losing. He's still losing Corsairs! Like, the amount of gas that have been poured into those units is ridiculous now. He can't afford to make Dragoons, Corsairs, and Templars. He's going to have to cut somewhere, and no matter where he cuts, he might be punished for it as a result.
Here comes the Mutas, looking for some High Templar Corsairs. Not in high enough number to really, truly defend those. Third base is going to be started here from Shuttle. I think we might see a really turtley style from him from this position. Kind of hopefully baiting the Zerg player in and try to take a really good fight. All right. I think he lost maybe one more Corsair there, maybe 2 more Corsairs, but he's managed to push away the Mutas and should be able to start this base in just a moment here. We'll have to see how Soma pulls him apart, because, you can make mistakes when trying to dive into some of these Protoss positions. If a storm lands and you're not quick enough to pull back, it could be devastating.
Absolutely. I do agree with Shuttle's game plan completely. I think he does need to just sit back and expand. Whether or not that will lead to a win is another matter entirely. Soma's starting to throw down some additional Evo chambers. He has been on Battle Zerg mode for a little bit of time here. Hasn't yet wanted to rush into high, but he is getting a 4th base online at the 6 o'clock, and we'll have a very strong mid game now. He's got a full pack of Mutas, 11 with +1 armor, and only 4 Corsairs in the sky will make it very difficult to protect these High Templars on the ground. So if Shadow is out of position and he gets these High Templars sniped, could be in a lot of trouble. He needs this base desperately. He still hasn't started the Nexus here. I don't know, I feel like he's starting to fall behind the curve now.
Well, at least he's going to have a lot of units here. He's been fully producing. Both of the two of the 4 remaining Corsairs have just gone down, and the 11 Mutas here just going to target those immediately. High Templars got their Storms, but I think it was only 1 per, and he had 2 Storms for sure, so not really getting the full value out of those high energy High Templars, and he's going to have a hard time holding onto this 3rd base, let me tell you. Soma is going to be fine to just sit back here, add on more bases, and go to Hive. He is not concerned about playing a late game against Shuttle from this position.
I don't even think he's worried about Hive right now. I think he's just playing as wide as possible and getting as much production. He's got a 5th base on the way as well. I imagine he will go Hive eventually. He's just slightly delaying it, prioritizing his economy and army a bit more than the tech for now. Diving into the natural expansion, forcing storms, and doing a pretty good job of dodging those as well. I mean, this is a lot of indirect damage from Soma. Even though he's just like baiting storms, it's still a lot less energy that will be available for Shuttle to do anything in terms of skirmishing with Soma. Soma's going to make a lot of lurkers and just sit back and chill, macro up like a madman. Will eventually get that Hive on the way as well. I really do feel worried for Shuttle now. Like, he's got the right game plan, but the execution is subpar.
I think it's a good time to just sit back and watch in awe of the skill of Soma as he makes this previous ASL champion kind of look silly here. Shuttle, like, his army is huge, but it doesn't look that scary at all. Like, this is a 2 armor, 1 attack. He's got good upgrades here. He's ready to take an engagement, but Soma is so prepared for this. He's been doing so much damage and cutting down the number of storms and picking off High Templar. Like, I just can't imagine this breaking through. In fact, 170 supply from Soma is going to have so much to deal with this.
Yeah, I mean, he has got a pretty sizable force now. This might be a timing for Shuttle to work with. He hasn't got enough storms to make this work technically, but I mean, theoretically Soma could make a mistake. He's diving into those High Templars but doesn't snipe them, and now hasn't got many Mutalisks left. So there is a world in which Shuttle could potentially break open this high ground position and do a lot of damage to Soma, but he's all clumped up, and Soma has a lot of units in the center of the board starting to wrap around to engulf this Protoss army from this pizza slice on the high ground. Not that much storm remaining for Shuttle, despite this being a pretty strong standing army for him. This could go well for Shuttle if he just keeps trading efficiently, forcing bad trades out of Soma and just storming and then retreating back to a more favorable position. This could work out. The problem is that I don't feel like he's got enough tempo on his side. I feel like this is taking too long.
Yeah, Soma's gradually setting up for a big surround. Ooh, some Hydras being bled off there. Would have been nice if someone could catch some reinforcements as they're coming across the map. But he's going to back up with these lurkers. He doesn't have any sunken colonies up on high ground, which is pretty critical. Usually you want to have some of these sunken colonies here to just kind of help out. Getting up on the high ground now, Hydras are missing from this army. He's actually going to come around to the front here, try to support these lurkers as the Zealots and Dragoons push up here. Some pretty good storms there, but he's running low. One more storm is available, and it's just been cast. Hydras, pure Hydra here on the high ground fighting. Okay, there's one more storm. There's always one more storm here, Shun. There's another one. It lands on the Hydras. It does a lot of good damage. That rally is pretty good, but Soma pushing everything back.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Shuttle had a chance of breaking through there. He just didn't go about it in the right way, unfortunately. I feel like he was a little bit slow in executing that attack and could have been a bit more strategic about where he stormed. Like, there was a moment where he stormed between two lurkers and didn't hit either of them. If he'd just been a little bit more careful and tactical about where he stormed and when, he actually could have got on top of that high ground and really started to force a bit of a bad trade scenario out of Soma. But now that timing has gone completely. Shuttle now being eclipsed by Soma in supply, in a bit of a desperation phase now. Going to be trying to get out onto the map in other regions and see if we can get something done by playing whack-a-mole with some of these other expansions, but seems like now Soma is too big for him to handle. We've got a single Zealot over at that base in the bottom left, but it's also a Nidus Canal there. And yeah, full hive tech now online for Soma. He will be getting into that plague eventually, and these cracklings will come online in a big way.
Yeah, these cracklings are going to be doing a little bit of work here on some of these cannons, just causing a problem for Shuttle. Needs to respond to that. It serves a dual purpose, right? You're slowing down the cannons, but you're also revealing where the Protoss army is, which can be difficult to ascertain in these situations. Where exactly has he sent that big death ball of Protoss? And once you know exactly where it's at, you know where you need to send your army in order to counter that. And now he's going to be sending it down here to the bottom left. He does get caught with some of these Hydras here, moving in the wrong direction, but utilizing that Nidus now to pop through a bunch of defenses. Someone's going to hold down here, and it looks like Shuttle will just have to continue to expand.
Yeah, I feel like Shuttle hasn't really got a lot of options available to it. I mean, this might be one of those games where he just needs to sit back and make a bunch of robos and try and go into a super late game phase with tons of Reavers and trying his best to cut the map in half and maybe use the artillery of those Reavers to help deal with the fact that there's going to be a lot of Defiler support now. I don't feel like that's going to be tenable for him at the moment. I feel like he's taking too long a time to keep growing and expanding, and he's kind of hooing and hawing with this army out on the map and not accomplishing a lot, while Soma's just continuing to grow. He's actually maxed in supply right now, is Soma. That's insane. Here comes another Defiler to push forward and start doing a lot with a little. You can see just going in for like one Dark Swarm and a few Lings and killing Archons and stuff. He's going to start whittling down Shuttle and forcing him to commit to an attack which will not be favorable in a few moments.
Yeah, if Shuttle pushes in any further around that area, he's going to get completely surrounded and killed. So he's going to have to back away. Sensing the danger of the situation, he will be able to catch a move forward here from Soma, trying to move up towards Shuttle's side of the map from the rally point. He catches that in transition and will shut down that move. Shuttle rotating again over here to the left-hand side. Defiler has an open path over towards the third base, by the way. If there's not a bunch of High Templar up there, or DTs or something like that, I mean, he's going to have a hard time holding that third base if he wants to move in that direction. He's opened that lane specifically so that he can make little counterattacks like that happen along the right-hand side. Oh, great plague there. Big plague from Soma. And this is just going to continue here. I don't see a fourth or a fifth base here for Shuttle. He hasn't taken the top left yet, which I think he needs to do if he wants to survive in this game.
Yeah, you know, he can't just sit on 4 bases. He's on only 2 bases worth of mining right now, and he's not growing any further. He needs an additional base and start thinking about the super late game. He has no chance of winning in this mid to late game transition. Soma is online in a big way. So many lurkers and defilers and cracklings at his disposal. The only thing that could go well for Shuttle is if Soma is caught out of position and has like these 4 lurkers clumped up, for example, can be easily stormed into oblivion. He's doing a good job, though, of like unburrowing and repositioning those and slowing down the advance of Shuttle and only bleeding a few units here and there and keeping the bulk of his force in reserve, waiting to gobble up this Protoss army gradually over time. It's pretty masterful control here from Soma. If you look at the mini-map, how he's starting to engulf this army and showing how you can trade efficiently with Zerg, despite usually the cost efficiency being on the Protoss' side of things. And now getting on top of the army with a lot of lurkers whilst it's in its death throes and starting to hammer in those coffin nails and cutting off the head of the snake.
Yeah, it can be a throw, just diving in with lurkers like that, but at this point you're just trying to finish off the army. If you finish this army, you know that you're going to be good, you know you're going to be solid here as the Zerg, and so he's just going for it. He's going for broke here, running straight up with the lurkers, eating the storm, and just getting a few spines off is going to be worth it for him right now. With this much of a supply lead, there's really no comeback potential for Shuttle. This is a really masterful game from Soma, really showing his level in comparison to some of these other Protoss players.
He just doesn't have the gas income. Like, if he had taken a 5th base quickly, like this base up in here, like you were talking about, he would have been able to keep replenishing Templars or maybe go into making Reavers, anything. But being stuck on just 1.5 gas worth of mining because his other 2 geysers are now depleted, it's not good for him. Like, there's no way of winning the game from that position. He was kind of fighting a losing battle for most of this game, and it is what it is. I liked his earlier game plan, but he didn't transition into the late game nearly efficiently enough and is paying the price. Soma now just going to be playing with his food as he starts to encroach on these Protoss positions, way ahead of him in supply by about 50 or so. Will not be long now until Shuttle has to tap out of the game. This 5th base is also about to be overrun and cancelled. Not much hope for our Protoss player.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame. I thought that Soma would take this base in the top left when, Shuttle would take this base in the top left while Soma was pushing up the right-hand side of the map. You know, Shuttle was in between the Zerg army and that base over there, so it would have been potentially possible to just play more of a defensive game, running back and forth, and just playing keep away as the Zerg continues to look for damage here and there, but instead, he really did commit onto the Zerg side of the map, and now he's relegated to just 2 bases economy, while Soma is growing and growing and growing and shutting down bases. This is true Sauron Zerg now. With this much economy, he can make endless Lings and Hydras.
Yeah, pretty much. He's only not running it down because that gives a tiny comeback mechanic to Shuttle. He knows if he just bleeds Shuttle dry on these last 2 mining bases that he's got and never lets him take a 5th, he's in trouble. Like, there's just no way of coming back from the game. The only way that Shuttle can come back is if somehow Soma suicides into him and loses the bulk of his army. So he's being very careful about how he engages with Shuttle still. Like, despite playing with his food, he is still, you know, being cautious not to let his food begin to eat him. Shuttle, identifying a bit of oxygen, will now start to surge down to the southern hemisphere. So even get on top of this pizza slice high ground and pressure this newly established mineral only, but it's not going to be enough, I don't feel. There's just too much army on the map for for Soma. Like, once Shuttle's dealt with a small portion of his army, there's plenty waiting in reserve to just be brought to the front and keep crippling Shuttle over and over again. Like, he's getting a few plagues off as well. Even if he does win a couple of fights, there's just a remaxing of the Zerg that he's got to contest with, and he's being Sauron Zerged into oblivion now.
Yeah, he's completely surrounded. Look at the lurkers on every side. The Zealots here don't have anywhere to go. 3 lurkers ahead of them, so they can't really run directly into that fire. And GG is called. A nice start here. Throwing Shuttle in the fire, I feel like. The Protoss squad just sacrificing one of their own. Who are they going to send out next that can actually beat Soma? Is it going to be Bisu? Snow? We're about to find out. I'm sure Shuttle in the group chat right now, Miane, just saying, oh, sorry, guys. Give it a first game over to Soma. It is what it is. This guy is an absolute monster right now. Stork gonna be sent out here next on Screaming Sea. Could be another sacrifice, but also, I mean, we've seen some pretty impressive games from Stork recently. Like, he took out, who was it? Who was on an absolute tear a couple of weeks ago? Do you remember that?
No.
Was it Jaedong that was like absolutely destroying? Oh my gosh, can't believe I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
I apologize.
Jaedong did go on like a bit of a warpath in recent KCM times a few weeks ago. Yeah.
He definitely did. Let us know in the comments down below, guys, if you remember who it was that Stork shut down. I swear that was like 2 weeks ago. I swear it was like 2 weeks ago, but I just cannot remember right now. Anyways, has had some good results in the recent KCM, so potential here for an upset and a shutdown on Soma. That would be fantastic. I mean, you can always revive this guy later on, but you know, getting him out of the lineup here early would be fantastic for the Protoss squad.
Yeah, I mean, I have to wonder if they just sent out Shuttle first because they didn't want to rely on him on like turning the series around later. Yeah. It's like, if you're gonna play with us, you better play first kind of attitude. I just sent him out as the sacrificial lamb and hope for the best after that. But yeah, Stork definitely could, you know, surprise us today. Like, just because he's this dinosaur Protoss that hasn't necessarily been showing up in a big way as of late. He has had some pretty good performances from time to time, and sometimes can definitely surprise us with some really big plays.
I could also imagine Shuttle like talking shit, being like, oh yeah, guys, I got this. Don't worry, I have a new build. Soma's not gonna know what hit him, you know? Totally possible. Just that type of guy. He's hilarious. He's a great addition to the ASL. Every time he makes it through to the round of 16, I always look forward to the group stages and what he's gonna say.
Yeah, I'm curious though, because we've got a very fast lair play here from Soma, so this is gonna be a 2-hatch muta build, essentially, and maybe he's hoping to force something like a 2 Stargate reaction out from Stork here. But this is a great map for double Stargate as well, so wouldn't hate if Stork did that, honestly. Like, if you're going to go for double Stargate, this is probably one of the few maps I can kind of get behind it. And yeah, I'm curious if Stork will feel threatened enough about this fast lair to actually go for that. The problem is that he's not going to spot whether or not this is going to be a quick second gas or not because of how quickly that probe died. So like I was saying before, you don't have to commit into 2X muta here. You can make 4 mutas and 1 pair of Scourge, or 5 mutas, and put on a bit of pressure with that, snipe some probes, and keep the Corsairs on their side of the map while you're making 2 additional hatcheries and a Hydra Den, and you can go for a pre-storm Hydra Bust while they're distracted worrying about you sniping Corsairs or killing probes. So yeah, I mean, anything's possible from this point onwards from Soma. He doesn't have to commit into a 2-hatch muta. He could just expand from now.
Oh gosh. Ah, man, this is rough. Stork just not taking it seriously enough. Yeah, this has been a trend, man. Soma's been getting lings in on so many great Protoss players lately, and just doing so much damage with them. He's got 2 lings in right now. We've seen what he can do with 3 in the past. 2 already getting a kill here in the main, though. And I'm sure he's going to get even more. This Zealot is just outclassed in terms of speed. He's never going to be able to catch up to this, and just going to have to at least force pulling off the line over and over again. Like, you're losing half the economy in your main base every time this has to be pulled. It's not for a long time, but it does take time for the probes to get back onto the mineral patches properly.
Yeah, and Soma's doing a variation on what I described, by the way. I'm not so sold that he's going to go for a pre-storm bust timing, because this is a map that's not so good for that pre-storm bust timing with the high ground natural, but he is doing a 2-hatch muter into a fast 4-hatchery play and trying to utilize this conveniently located 4th base to get 4 base worth of mining. Oh, he does clear up the Zerglings pretty efficiently, considering they've got speed, so not the worst case scenario here for Stork, but still has suffered a lot of damage. Great blocking with these Zerglings to try and stop this Zealot getting in. Okay, he's actually going to barely see that the second gas is being mined. I'm not sure if he saw that Hydrogen or not. He cancels it, so he must have seen it. Maybe he was doing the build I was talking about then. Maybe he was going for a pre-storm bust after a 2-hatch muter play. And now he's going to be trying to faking out Stork and worrying about that bust that's not even coming.
Oh my gosh. You know what? It's 2 Stargate. And he just canceled the Hydrogen, so he's going to make a lot of mutas here. He's got the 3rd gas. He's taking the 4th gas. He's taking the 4th gas here. He's going to make so many Scourge and mutas. Like, I think we're going to see...
Oh, gosh.
I think we're going to see Soma kind of go all in. Oh,
Maybe.
he sees the second Stargate. Can he cancel? Can he change his mind here? Hopefully he's going to change the game plan, because there's going to be so many Corsairs in the air.
Well, he might be less all-in as a result. Like, he might not fully commit to this. Yeah, like he's going to throw down macro hatcheries and stuff. He'll try and transition, but he will predominantly rely on an Air Force initially just to control the map and not allow Stork to run him over with a Corsair timing. But you're right, he probably has to now slightly adjust how he approaches the game because of that. Like, he knows it won't be as easy to secure air superiority anymore, and he won't just be able to easily bully Stork in the skies, so we'll probably see a lot more Scourge than mutas for the time being. And yeah, we'll have a transition from Soma, I imagine. We'll have to see how well he can adapt to this.
Really good on Soma to go and confirm, right? He had the Hydrogen making, he canceled it, and thought, you know what, I'm going to go all in with a ton of Scourge and mutas here. Then he sent the Scourge in. Let's just make sure that we know what the build is. Sees the second Stargate. All right, change of plans. We're just going to make enough Scourge to survive this Corsair attack, and then it's going to be a big switch into Hydras. Here we go. Connections pretty good, getting down to 6 Corsairs remaining. He's going to have to make spores, it looks like, in order to survive this, but a lot more Scourge are going to be popping out here. Ooh, this is a lot of damage on the Overlords. I mean, it wasn't the worst splitting on the Scourge, but it definitely could have been better there, Shun.
I mean, that's a deadly supply block, and the majority of that is Mutalisks, not Scourge, so it's going to be hard for him to snipe off enough Corsairs to re-establish himself. Please tell me Stork is not going to run back with these Corsairs. He needs to be hyper-aggressive and keep killing Overlords as they're popping. He needs to be more aggressive with these Corsairs. He can't just sit back with them like this. He needs to go on the offensive and keep sniping things like Scourge and Overlords in the sky and capitalize upon the supply block.
Maybe he wants to wait for a few more Corsairs, but maybe put them all together so that he can really wipe out this Air Force. There is +1 armor on these Scourge now. Looks like he's going to put them all together. Is he actually going to just sit here back at home and defend?
No way.
He's got to get out here on the map for sure. Zealot timing is going to be online here soon. In fact, the Zealots are moving out now. Can he take a big fight with the Scourge and win? It's about to happen right now. There's the Scourge finding the Corsairs. They've got to back away. Oh, the target fire not that good from Stork here. He was actually hitting the Mutalisk, but he's still got a lot of Corsairs. He could wipe out so many Overlords here, Shun. Can he actually take the fight where he knocks out the Scourge first? Good targeting now, finally killing off a lot of these Scourge, but 4 only remain. So many Scourge were made by Soma. I mean, he just absolutely went ham with those Scourge. 4 gases are really paying off.
Obviously, I'm not a pro gamer, saying, and 99% of the time, these guys will know better than me. But in this situation, this is a misplay from Stork, giving that much tempo back to Soma to replenish that many Scourge and Mutalisk. This Zealot attack is good, but can you imagine if he didn't wait for an additional, like, 3 Corsairs? You already had 7 out on the map, and there was hardly anything that in the way of anti-air besides a few Scourge and a few Mutalisks. If he just rammed it down with those Corsairs non-stop sniping Overlords, that supply block was so heavy, he wouldn't have lost nearly that many Corsairs, and now he's on the back foot, playing catch-up, sitting back with 3 bases, a 3rd base still on the way. I just don't like this at all from Stork. I feel like he just threw away all the momentum he had.
I have to agree with you here, Shun. That supply block was brutal, and there was a chance that he could have kept that ball rolling. Now the ball is completely shut down here. It's been thrown off the mountain, and there's really no way to get it rolling again. This dive into the natural, he's just going to put the Scourge between the natural and the 3rd to catch any Corsairs that pop out. He has to run, and there's going to be so much probe death. Zealots going across the map to try and do something. Where are the Scourge? Actually, the Scourge are out of position now. Where are they? Okay, they're going to come in now, get a bunch of connections. Not bad here. Down to 5 Corsairs again. Stork really having a hard time, but he's going to kill this 4th. All right, that's something. That's some progress.
Yeah. That is definitely some progress. It's not terrible. Like, there is still a way of winning the game for Stork. I just feel like his win percentage is far too even compared to what it should be. Like, this should have gone to like a 80+%, maybe even 90% win situation, down to like a 40 to 50. It's just not acceptable. You had so much momentum on your side. He's doing a few moves now that are pretty good and are keeping him in the game, so he's not completely throwing it under the bus, but still not a great position considering what he could have had. And now the natural going to be dove once up again before the cannons can finish up. Oh no, High Templar's popping as well. Luckily they get to start morphing into an Archon in time, so it's not all lost here for Stork. He's not going to have to GG out, but he's coming so dangerously close to being killed by Soma, where a few moments ago he was in a game-winning position. Now we got +2 Flyer Carapace on these air units for Soma. He's definitely going to be double dipping into his air superiority and trying to outplay and outmaneuver Stork.
I'm surprised that he didn't stay and fight there. Soma didn't, because he had so many mutas. There was only 4 Corsairs left, and +2 armor just makes such a big difference against those Corsairs. He's actually retained most of these mutas though, and so this army is just insanely strong. There's so much damage that's available here for Soma. So diving in, 1 cannon is just going to do nothing. There's no way to stop this. It's going to die so fast, and he's going to start to lose a lot of stuff here in the main. Nice connections on the Scourge. Finally going to take the fight, but I don't know why he's grouping the mutas like this. You want to spread them out a little bit more. That's a little bit rough. He almost loses that full group. Does manage to fly out there in the end and can replenish with a few more mutas. Try for the main again, but not really making the best use out of those upgrades that he's invested so much into.
I mean, even I'm sure the viewers back at home could say that he should have split the mutas there. I'm sure you guys have played plenty of micro maps where you just, quickly fan out your mutas so they don't take as much splash damage from those Corsairs. They even have an armor advantage in this situation. He could have easily killed all of those Corsairs and potentially even forced a GG out from Stork pretty soon after the fact. I mean, he's still probably going to win the game, but a bit of a lackluster performance from both of these individuals. I feel like both of them failing to capitalize on their opportunities.
Well, finally, a island is going to be taken here. We'll be taking that 6 o'clock. We get some really unorthodox games on this map, man. I'm really enjoying Screaming Sea overall. It's been a lot of fun. But I think the decided king of Screaming Sea, I think it's got to be Larva, right? Larva is for sure the owner of this map. He certainly has this map down, and he knows exactly how to play on it, how to win on this map, but totally different approach from Soma here today.
I think Effort played really crazy good on it as well, but I would say Lava has had more showings on it and has been more consistent on it, so I would still happily give the mantle to Lava, despite seeing good performances from Effort on it as well. Yeah, but I'm not liking Soma's performance as much. He's doing a pretty good job. He's killing a few more Corsairs now. This is great. It's crazy how much gas is being invested into these Corsairs, and they only have plus one weapons. He's lost so many of them to Scourge over and over again. Now he's going to be relying on Archons on the ground to do some of the heavy lifting and hopefully catch the Mutalisks and Scourge with maybe a Storm or two as well. Look at how much like Soma's trying to bully Stork in this game. Like, it's crazy. Like, Stork went double Stargate and is still having this much trouble.
Yeah, it's impressive. It is really impressive that he's able to dominate double Stargate to this degree. 3 hits from that Archon softens up these Remutas a lot, but doesn't even get a single kill and loses the Archon. So pretty brutal for Stork, losing that big anti-air unit. We'll see if he makes another one. He hasn't made a Dark Archon yet, but yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think there's been a lot of games on Screaming Sea where we've seen the Protoss players really heavily invest into Corsair, but never get that +2, never get Fleet Beacon or Disruption Web. I know it's not very well regarded in this era of StarCraft, but it is still a reasonable. It's still a reasonable choice when you're utilizing this many Corsairs.
Yes.
Man, just sniping down even more Corsairs. So many have died, and they're really not doing much against the Mutas with this much armor.
I mean, in lieu of what you just said about Fleet Beacon, I think it's usually right to not go for that. But on this particular map, I see a lot of ways of that being necessitated. The disruption webs, because of the island bases, makes them far easier to dive bomb and break, and also deal with the fact that you're attacking on one corridor. You can easily shut down these positions of Zerg. You don't need to worry about being flanked most of the time, so D-Web even has more value there because they can't just run around the D-Webs. They're kind of just choked up and dealing with it. And yeah, I feel like getting that +2 weapons on the Corsairs would change things up a lot, but it's not going to be the case, and he's instead going to be losing a lot of his army for free here to Soma as he tries to ram it across the bridge. Going to get shut down. Soma with these double island expansions is going to explode in economy soon. Just barely not killing this Nexus at the 4th, but it's so softened up, it's going to be easier to snipe that later.
There's some really good Overlord spread from Soma, and that's the result of all this fighting in the air. If Soma kind of gave up the air battle, we would see hardly any Overlord spread out, but as it stands, just chocked full of Overlords. They're absolutely everywhere. There's no real way to slip onto these islands and deal some damage. This flank of Mutas is going to kill one of the few remaining High Templars, and in fact, this army is all but spent. Just a few more Zealots pushing forward here. This is the last remaining Dragoons fall. I think this is going to be it, Shun. The 3rd base was badly reduced there on the higher, and 4th base, excuse me. Cannons have mostly been killed, and that Nexus is very low. So, Stork just backing up further and further. He has another round of Dragoons making their way to the front. Maybe he can hold on his side of the map, but Soma's just expanding like crazy. He's going to start taking more bases on the islands as well.
Yeah, Stork doesn't somehow find a way of shutting down mining at those bases soon, he's in a lot of trouble. He even needs to secure his own island expansions to have any chance in this game, and he's not doing that. He's kind of just tunnel visioning on trying to break across this bridge, and that's going to play into Soma's hands. He's just going to kind of do a similar thing that Lava did and just sit back and make sunkens on the high ground and just, you know, pull back the defensive line slightly. And that's not going to hurt Soma enough to do this. Like, Stork, unfortunately, is fighting a losing battle for the time being. He has a small supply advantage, but not nearly enough to break through these Zerg lines. He needs some miracle storms or a blunder from Soma or something to make this work. He's even got +1 attack on these Mutalisks now. 2-1 upgrades. Kind of insane, and he's going to be harassing the reinforcement line of Stork as well, and make Stork feel like he's even more desperate to... Oh, he's going to get on top of the High Templars! So many of them biting the dust. He's not even trying to do a preemptive storm to engage the Mutas. So much utility just being absolutely evaporated and eviscerated by Soma. The chances of Stork winning this game were slim. Now they're basically like on a Ozempic now, Sam.
Yeah, truly frail at this point. No bone density at all. The chances here for Stork falling through the floor. I kind of liked it with the when the High Templar were coming up there. Like, I thought that while the Mutas were harassing the Zealots, like, Mutas don't have that much vision, and he had full vision of where the Mutas were there. I thought he was going to get a great storm on the Mutas as they were fighting the Zealots, or as they were dealing damage to the Zealots, and then we were going to see a push over to this third base. Like, the third base is wide open. He can push into that, and there's no sunken colonies there. He needs to go for it, man. Gonna dive on the High Templar again. What is that storm? My goodness, every High Templar is gonna fall. This is just Soma in a nutshell, man. He's so good with this control.
Yeah, I feel like Stork's just got a migraine from dealing with the amount of harassment. He's even losing High Templars on the back end from the reinforcement drain as well. If only he had like 1 or 2 storms available to him, he could easily cripple those clumps of Hydras and maybe pressure this base in the center. It's a shame he's been whittled down to a nub here and made to look like a nub as well. 20 supply in deficit now, Stork. Slowly but surely being driven out of this game and strangled. Like, he's lost mining at his third now. He's down to pretty much just 1 base worth of mining besides a few minerals in his main base, and there's not much hope for him now. Soma's going to take another island expansion, and Stork needs a nexus at one of these islands, which I think he's about to take now, but it's far too little, far too late.
Yeah, there's no way that Soma will let that happen. GG has to be called, and Soma is on a tear here, knocking out the first 2 Protoss players. But still, the best has been saved for last. Bisu and Snow. One of them will be brought out next to challenge Soma. These are the right guys for the job, for sure. So we're in for a great game here, coming right up. So it's going to be Bisu. He's spawning here in the bottom right. Metropolis in cross-map situation. Now, I wonder if Soma in that last game was doing something that he'd never really done before, and he's kind of like hiding his builds for that map. Like, I'm sure he's practicing really hard some certain type of strategy for the ASL. I wonder if he's like hiding his best stuff and just kind of threw something out to beat Stork with here in the KCM.
Yeah, I mean, Bisu is the OG Protoss versus Zerg guy. So if you're going to have anyone on your squad in this finals, I feel like he's the must pick. You could argue that he hasn't been performing in the last 2 years at a very consistent level, but I do feel like he's in very good shape right now and is deserving of being on this squad, certainly more so than Shuttle and Stork. This lineup would have been a little bit better if you had someone like Mini on the lineup as well. I feel like if you replace Shuttle with Mini at the bare minimum, I feel like this is a pretty darn good squad. There's a lot of heavy lifting for Bisu and Snow to do still, but you know, there's no Soul Key, I would say only Soma out of all four of these guys is playing exceptionally solid. Jaedong has shown a lot of promise in recent times as well, but Action and Queen have been underperforming in my opinion, so there's a chance that the Protoss squad can turn this around still.
Yeah, Soma is definitely the ringer here, and he's the one most likely to get revived if he ends up going down. Bisu gonna get in here initially with the probe, put on a little damage, just figure out what's going on here. It's an overpool, and he's gonna send his zealot across the map to look for some harassment. Maybe he can go around these lings. He's spotted out their trajectory with the probe, and so can possibly avoid them. Oh, great spread and split there from Soma. After getting out of the vision of the probe, he's actually gonna catch that zealot as it's moving through the map. He just notes that it's there and heads over towards the natural. He's going to try to put on some pressure, see if he can slip into the main base. We've seen how powerful that can be from him. He can get a lot of damage.
We've even seen some players like Effort try and mine out these kind of patches in these situations to open up that ramp even more. Hasn't got that to work with this time around, but it's still doing a bit of a skill check. This is what we have in the modern era right now. This is very common in pretty much any game that opens Gateway Expand. You'll have the Zerglings at least force one probe onto that ramp, so a little bit lost mining time to help pay for those Zerglings, as well as, you know, threatening the idea of those lings getting to the main. Sometimes they can squeeze on by. The Protoss just has to, you know, kind of buy time for that third zealot to pop out to stabilize in most situations, unless the Zerg wants to keep making a lot of Zerglings, and punish a late cannon timing is also possible, but less common.
Has enough zealots here now, Bisu. One note, knockout, I believe that's 16 minerals on the mineral patch there on the on Metropolis, excuse me. Knockout is the one that has 2 mineral patches, and they each have 0 minerals on them, so you can come up with a drone early, mine both of the mineral patches, and then it's very easy to slip by on that space tile set past the zealot probe combo. So that's something that we like. That feels like a special tactics strategy. Really sick play for only the smartest Zerg players in the world are going to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what these individuals have planned for us going forward. I doubt we'll see another double Stargate from Bisu. I feel like that's only really viable on Screaming Sea. I mean, sometimes you can pull it out on one of these other maps, but more often than not, it kind of falls flat. You could see how hard it was to be made to work even against the build order that it's meant to counter, so not always the wisest decision. Ooh, pretty good surround here on these zealots. Can they shuffle back behind these minerals? It doesn't look like it. It looks like Soma gobbles up those zealots like they're nothing. That's a big deal. Like, it's not like he can break Bisu or anything, but you can't come out onto the map with 6 zealots and put pressure onto the Zerg anymore. The Zerg can just sit back and drone to their heart's content.
Absolutely. This is a painful loss from Bisu early. He recognized he was about to get surrounded there. He was kind of contemplating staying on the ramp, but then when he realized that there's probably going to be lings heading around the back, he looked for the position behind the minerals at 6, but Soma preempting everything, and now there's going to be Hydroden and the Spire on the way. Spire going to finish up here first, of course, to get the Scourge out, try to save these Overlords, but let's see if Bisu goes in deep enough to see the Hydroden as well, because if he doesn't see it, there may be something like a pre... Okay, he does see it. I was going to say pre-storm timing, but there, he sees everything. Bisu is aware.
Okay. What did you feel about Bisu's chances at bouncing back? Because I'm of the understanding that if you lose 3 zealots like that early on, you're kind of on the back foot as Protoss now, because the Zerg kind of range of play opens up in a big way. It's kind of like when you go 3-hatch Spire against Terran, you're giving a lot of like room for the Terran to maneuver and min-max and do basically what any build they want to do as a result, and open yourself up to being countered quite heavily. I feel like Bisu's in a similar position now. He's got a tiny bit of compensation by killing some overlords, but that's not going to be enough. I feel like Soma is such a macro god right now that... Oh no, not the Corsair as well! Are you kidding me? What can you even say about that?
Well, that is really sick, guys. What Soma did there was head along the right-hand side. He knew that there was a Corsair on the way back home, and he figured it would be along the right-hand side. But you need some time to respond with the Scourge, and you want to actually see the Corsair before the Corsair sees you, which is very hard because the Corsair has longer vision. So what he did was he went ahead of the Corsair and then moved in the direction the Corsair would be moving. So the retreating vision was able to see the Corsair coming, and then he was able to get the intercept path. Pushing up here onto the high ground, Bisu, I mean, he could commit here on the high ground, but it looks like he's a little bit afraid, man. He doesn't want to lose all of these zealots right now. Like, this push would be so much scarier if it had those extra 3 zealots. I think he would have just dove on those Hydralisks immediately, try to kill some drones, but instead he's out here running around on the map and just can't commit right now. Hydras are in a high enough number that they can push this back, and so Bisu's gonna have to make some Sunkens to just keep himself, or make some cannons to keep himself safe. Gonna take this a little bit of a fight here in the middle. Dark Templar in the mix as well, but there's the Overlords making their way forward. 4th cannon is going to be finishing up here soon. No way to get rid of these Overlords, and so he's going to bank on a Storm finishing up just in the nick of time.
I'm a little bit concerned about this situation. I feel like there's definitely room for Bisu to bounce back in this game. Let's see, though, because, I mean, Soma could just ram it down right now. Let's see if the Storms and that are going to be ready. At the very least, he's forcing a lot of cannons. Like, Soma doesn't have to attack here. He could just soft contain, honestly. Like, he doesn't have to pull the trigger on this. He might still anyway. We'll have to see how confident he feels about that. There's a lot of situations where if you see they've got, like, you know, 4, 5, 6 cannons and Storm ready, you just sit back, you soft contain, and, you know, force them to stay on 2 bases for a very long time, and, you know, keep making non-stop units to reinforce the contain until they fail to break out, and then you expand, then you tech up and make more drones. But until that time, I imagine we'll be seeing pretty much high levels of production of units from Soma. But it looks like he wants to maybe abandon this contain. I don't know if I completely agree with this play. Obviously, he's a far better player than I would ever be. But in this situation, I would prefer to contain the Protoss.
Well, let's see what Soma decides to do. He doesn't have lurkers here quite yet, so containment can be pretty difficult. He is going to come back over here towards the natural, but a probe manages to slip out. Bisu going to go and just try to take a 4th. Let's see if Soma can shut this down, because he has a lot of Hydras here. What should win on paper might not if the Storms land perfectly.
Yeah, I just don't like allowing Bisu to get a probe to this 3rd for free. And now it's going to be really hard to stop Bisu taking an expansion. Yeah, maybe that's something I'm not really... I mean, he can still shut this down, I guess. But he's not, like, say, keeping some Hydras down at the rally to snipe the High Templars in transit or anything. I don't know, I just really disagree with this from Soma. I feel like you're allowing Bisu oxygen in this game now, and just getting this 3rd base for free feels like a mistake.
Well, he's going to be taking a 4th base with some confidence here. He's got still all of his Hydras alive, hasn't really lost any of those early on, aside for a couple of little trades with some Zealots. So he has quite a sizable army. Like, he's very close in supply right now, and since this is mostly Hydras, that means he's got a lot of Hydras. A ton of Hydras here to actually take the next fight with. He's going to be spreading out into this bottom left, and he's making this big Mutalisk transition as well. There's enough Corsairs here to escort the High Templar, but we've already seen from Soma that in a lot of cases just does not matter. He is so good at connecting with those Corsairs, and he is incredibly good at just dodging the Storms and sniping High Templars in these fights.
Yeah. maybe I'm crazy, but I just can't support Soma in his decision making right now. Like, I feel like this is just shooting up the win percentage of Protoss so much. In a way, that's a good thing. In a way, that means we're going to see a longer series as a result. Soma also could still punish this. He's going to try and poke up onto this high ground now, but I feel like it's going to be way too tough to break Bisu from this point onwards. We might see a really sick macro game as a result, and Soma can, you know, kind of do a delayed contain where he just doesn't allow Bisu to take a 4th base as well. Could be the aim of the game. I can get behind that, but ultimately I don't like this decision process at all. I feel like he was in such a good position after catching the Zealots early, forcing cannons, even sniped that Corsair. Everything was looking great for Soma. He just had to delay Bisu taking a 3rd, and he hasn't done so.
Is he gonna go for a dive? No, it looks like he's just gonna go to try and kill High Templar. I thought he might dive the main or something like that. Here he goes, diving on top of those High Templar. 2 go down immediately. Corsairs land, or Scourge land in large part. Only a couple of Corsairs left. A lot of them on low HP, but this army is still strong. It's still scary. More Mitas arrive here. He's gonna go for another dive on High Templar. Let's see if he can kill enough so that pure Hydralisk can beat this. Oh, that's a pretty big surround of Hydras. More going to be coming down from the north here. Dives on the Templar. 1 more left. He does pick that off, or at least he baits out the storm. And so he can try to take this fight here. Are there enough Hydras? It doesn't look like enough Hydras here. +2 is done. But yeah, this is going to stand strong.
I mean, I'm going to keep saying it till the cows come home that it was a mistake to let Bisu get this big, but it is what it is. I mean, he can still win. I think Soma has a chance of making this work, but look at how strong Bisu is now going to be able to trade him. Soma's now needs to catch this High Templar from behind, for example. Like, he needs a little bit of a win. He has got a pretty strong macro engine behind him still, so it's not like Bisu's just going to win the game right now, but certainly he's given a lot of leeway to Bisu going forward, and as a result, Bisu being such a PvZ beast that he is, I feel like he's now so much more dangerous in this game. And Soma might have bitten off more than he could chew by being this complacent.
Gonna catch some of these Dragoons on the retreat. Good target fire there. Bisu has a lot of different locations he could attack. He could attack up onto this high ground at the 3rd base. He could go for the 4th and bottom left, and he could also head towards the natural. So Soma has to stay very mobile here. He's got to respond to whichever direction Bisu chooses. If he comes towards the natural, he's got to pull from the 3rd and the 4th, and vice versa. Let's see if he's able to respond correctly. That's a big storm there on the high ground. It looks like the choice is to try and bust up here into the 3rd base. Storms up onto the high ground. Not quite enough to break this just yet, but more Zealots, more Dragoons are being brought forward, and he can easily change directions here. He's actually going to change to head down towards bottom left. I don't know how Soma holds on to that.
Well, this is defending by attacking. This is just to secure this base at the 6 o'clock, right? Like, he's not trying to kill Soma with this necessarily, even though he might be able to kill this 4th base, actually. Soma has to respond to this, kill High Templars quickly. He could lose this base in the bottom left. Bisu's not even intending to kill this. He just wants to keep his 6 o'clock alive, but he's realized there's a massive weakness in killing this easily killing this base off in the bottom left. Soma's going to go on the counterattack, try and punish the 3 o'clock. Luckily for him, I don't think there's any High Templars that have gotten to the high ground of that 3rd, so maybe he could do some counter damage now to Bisu, killing one of the High Templars with the Mutas, but Bisu hot in pursuit from behind. There's a lot of temper that's being lost by Soma now. He's not going to be able to kill this 3rd base quick enough, potentially. At the very least, he's going to do it in a much more cost-inefficient way. Hydra's getting blocked on the bottom. Probes even coming off the line to buy some precious time while he's chewing through the cannon so that he can then go to work on that Nexus, but it's not going to be enough. He's lost his window to kill the Nexus as well.
Yeah, with this base going down and this Nexus on high ground, the writing is on the wall. Soma has fallen apart in this game. He's not been able to execute here with this kind of BTS style of play, this you know, Mutalist Hydralist play that can be so powerful, but it really requires you to win fights in this mid-game. You have to be winning fights and keeping the Protoss player back, but he was having a hard time just preventing Bisu from breaking him, right? Like, he was barely surviving at that third base. And so, since he hasn't been able to win these fights, he's lost the bottom left. And he is just about out of this game. He is going to catch the probes heading down towards bottom center. But I tell you, this does not matter nearly as much as you think. There's too much of an army advantage right now for Bisu. And these mutas killing off a few probes is just not going to make that much of a difference.
No, I mean, Bisu mainly cares about, you know, having enough gas to keep churning out things like Templars and Dragoons. He's not worried about a few minerals being lost right now. He's got more than enough, and he can transfer drones, transfer probes. Oh, those storms clearing up the mutas as well. But yeah, he can transfer probes from his natural when that gets mined out. It's not a big deal to lose a handful of probes at this point in the game. Really bad news bears situation for Soma. I do feel like he's let this game really slip through his fingers. We've got +3 armor now on the ground army of Bisu. It's going to be so tanky and hard to chew through. These lurkers are really clumped up as well. Soma's going to attempt to dive on top of this army, but if there's like 1 or 2 good storms on these lurkers, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He is pushing back the forces of Bisu. They're going to have a hard time getting on top of the high ground. There is a bit of a momentum shift here for Soma as he's killing units. A lurker egg block as well, shutting them out from getting on top of that high ground. Really nice plays from Soma. It's great ideas. Can he find a window to come back in this game? He's got the army isolated now at the 6 o'clock. He's rotating around to the natural expansion of Bisu. There's still other cannons and High Templars here, but if he can get set up, maybe he can find some favorable trades still and eventually collapse onto that the third base as well to siphon off some of the economy for Bisu. Still not the bestest of trades, but he has now at least some game position to work with.
I don't really like Bisu coming down the ramp here from the third base. I feel like the point of this is to get those bases isolated so that you can start to pick them off one by one, and the fewer Templar that are available at each of those defensive locations, the worse off he's going to be. I can't believe Soma's actually getting in here right now. He's going to kill all the Dragoons.
What is even happening? What is even happening? How is Bisu letting this now go? He had such a great position just a moment ago, and somehow Soma is just macroing like a god and finding teeny tiny windows of opportunity to exploit. I don't think this should really happen, but it's just a testament to how good of a player Soma is. Despite being in a wonky position, he's fighting back strong, catching a lot of this Protoss army off guard. Just when Bisu has reinforcements surging up from the natural, he's already gobbled up a lot of the critical Dragoons and Templars that are the backbone of this Protoss force. There's one single low HP High Templar in the top right harassing the drone line. The drones could kill that Zealot, but because of the +3 armor, it would take them way too long to chew through that low HP count, so he's going to wisely just bait that towards some Hydras to clean up. But what a wild situation we have. Sometimes mistakes in StarCraft lead to these crazy game situations, so it can actually be more exciting when players are not playing at optimal level.
Bisu's still holding on to 4 bases, so at the end of the day, that was a lot of damage. There's a lot of back and forth there. But the fact remains, 4 base to 4 base. Can he kill some more probes here? Maybe get a few more shaved off. There was a catch on the probe transfer with the mutas, and there was a bit of a catch as they were coming through by the lurkers too. So a lot of probes have been shaved off at this point. Still, the army is looking pretty good. Another nice High Templar snipe. Man, these mutas are good. Like, he's so good at avoiding those storms, even in the midst. And Bisu is amazing at preemptive storm. He's going to get some good ones down there, but another High Templar falls. It's crazy what he can do.
Man, I'm kind of blown away, honestly. Like, I felt like Bisu should be running circles around Soma right now, and he isn't, which is crazy. Like Soma might be the best Zerg on the planet right now. Like, how crazy is that to think about? Like, just a few months or weeks ago, everyone had in their mind that Sulky was this dominant force that was gonna, you know, remain dominant for a very long time, like back to back championships. And unfortunately, sometimes that can create a diminished motivation to keep playing, keep trying. And he's kind of fallen by the wayside in terms of his relevancy in the scene now, and you've got players like Soma, Effort, and Lava coming back into the scene to shake things up, and Soma in particular has just been such a force to be reckoned with. I mean, what can this guy not do? Like, he could be the champion of this ASL, for example. Like, who knows what this guy's got in store for us.
Yeah, just the fact that he's still alive right now is crazy. I mean, he's probably not going to win this game. I don't think he should win. He's stuck here on layer tech, and he's on 4 base to 4 base. Like, this is a terrible situation. This is almost unwinnable for most Zergs on the planet, but somehow he's still hanging in there. He's gonna get 1 High Templar kill. Gonna go after some of these Zealots as well, trying to get some more High Templars if he can. Oh my gosh, baiting out so many storms. Will just continue to make mutas, I think. Like, he's not stopping. He's just gonna keep making mutas and keep trying to snipe these High Templars. This is the only thing that's really keeping him alive.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this game could have been more in Soma's hands had he shut down Bisu from at least getting the 3rd up so easily, but he's shown such fighting spirit despite being in an awkward position after the fact, and now he's going to start splitting the map in half and has a lurker field as well for Bisu to try and attack into. There's 4 observers, so he has a strong possibility of breaking here, but Muta's on the back end of that army, seeing if they can snipe some High Templars. Good preemptive storm there for Bisu, shutting that down, but some of those High Templars are a little bit out of position, could be exploited by Soma if he's on top of things. Bisu, in a little bit of desperation now, wants to force trades and skirmish, but he's losing so many of the High Templars right now. He needs to retreat, and he's going to lose a lot of units while retreating. Soma somehow makes crazy positions look winnable. It's insane.
I mean, he's still so far behind in supply, but yeah, he's making it almost work. That just the upgrade disadvantage here alone is so hard to overcome. Like, there's only 1 attack done for Bisu. I really thought he would be getting +2 done here pretty soon instead of plasma shields. Like, plasma shield seems ridiculous to even think about getting that, but that +3 armor is so good because there's not going to be any defilers this game, most likely. Like, +3 armor is so sick. It makes these Zealots last so much longer against Hydras. Oh, there's a mistake. Okay, I think he might actually break him now. Finally, a big mistake there from Soma running into that storm.
He has got some Hydras in reserve as well, but yeah, he can't afford to take any big storms like that. That's almost breaking point now for Soma. He needs to cling on to this position in the top right quadrant. Seems like he's going to try and bait back the army for Bisu by going on the counter-offensive now, but there's so many cannons at that 6 o'clock. Bisu also taking the bottom left pocket as well. I think it's better for Bisu just to ram it down to either 12 o'clock or this top right pocket, and I think he is going to do that, or at least force Soma to come to him in this open field. I don't think this counter attack technically will work, but he's gonna lose so much army to kill this base at the 6 o'clock. I don't think it's worth it.
I think he's gonna kill bottom left, actually. Yeah, probably just kill bottom left. I mean, there's
his army's out of position.
Yeah, his army's gonna be way down here in the bottom left. Hopefully he doesn't overcommit with forces there. But right now he's microing desperately with the mutas, trying to kill off a few more High Templar. Looks like he will shut that down with almost the entirety of his Hydralis army. So there's really no way to defend 12 or top right. I mean, he made some lurkers over there at top right, but I think that Bisu would run that over pretty easily. Army is finally going to be brought back out onto the map for Soma, but it's a little bit too late. Drones can escape, but this hatchery is gone.
Yeah, I mean, killing bottom left is an okay idea, but do it with like 6 or 8 Hydras. Don't send your entire force down there. Now he loses that base for free. He did transfer the majority of those drones to the top right, so that's something, but he's supply blocked now. He's going to be having to turtle up against a Bisu that's happily going to keep growing. Not optimal to say the least. Bisu is only on 1 mining base, it has to be said, but so is Soma now after losing that base at the 12 o'clock, so this is still Protoss favor. favored. And I feel like this position is going to get worse and worse for Soma as we tick by. This army from Bisu is monstrous, and that plasma shield upgrade going to make these Archons even more deadly and able to soak up Hydra's shots. He's going to force a trade out of Soma soon, and there's just no way Soma's going to keep this army at bay.
He's gonna dive on some more High Templar here. Unlimited storms, though. So many storms are being spent just to defend this. 3 High Templar end up going down at the end of the day, but costs him a lot of mutas, and he just does not have the income to keep this up anymore. The Battle Zerg style, it's decent. It's really decent. It's hard to execute, but it has a very high potential when it utilized correctly. It's just, at this point, you can't even afford to make those cheap units anymore. Mutas and Hydras are going to be too expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I really do think this is a valiant comeback effort from Soma, but he also has himself to blame, in my opinion, when he allowed Bisu to come out and take that third so cheaply and didn't really have much of an answer to him after the fact as a result of Bisu getting too big, too strong, too quickly. It is what it is, but he did show a lot of fighting spirit coming back, fighting in Battle Zerg mode against a superior Protoss force, and made it look way easier than it should have been. But the writing is still on the wall. Those letters will be falling soon, and unfortunately, I feel like Bisu will be closing out this game slowly but surely. Every time he's trying to do anything with these mutas, it's a nice value to like pick up some High Templar kills, but killing 2 High Templars for almost a whole pack of mutas is not that great of a trade at this point in the game. Bisu's already so big that those small tempo plays of limiting the splash damage won't have enough of an impact on the game anymore.
Long distance mining is happening here for Soma. He's going to be on 2 bases for a little bit, trying to take the natural as well. I think that's going to be his last stand. Is going to be at that natural in top right. But there's always the opportunity for Bisu to just change directions and go hit the natural, the real natural over there in top left. Because there's no Nidus. There's no Hive. There's no Nidus. You can't switch over in your defense to that top left. You could just kind of poke, see what you have over at this location, and then just switch targets here. Gonna dive on top of the rally point, force the storms on top of themselves. The High Templar kill a lot of their brethren there, but I mean, the army is still so big. Maxed out supply now for Bisu, and all the mutas are gone. It's just pure Hydra. Pure Hydra with inferior upgrades as well, might I add.
Yeah, there's not much hope for Soma. It is what it is. He's not going to trade very well at all. In fact, he shouldn't be attacking at all in this particular moment. He should be trying to establish the natural expansion first, getting Defilers out, and then either trying to get the gas in the center or at least stopping Bisu from getting that. But it's not going to be enough. GG is finally called from Soma, and what a comeback from Bisu. I feel like Soma allowed that to occur with allowing Bisu to come out and take that third. But it is what it is. It gives us a longer series, and Bisu bites back against the Zerg squad. Let's see who they bring up next.
All right, action. Down in the bottom right, Bisu spawning here in top left, showing some true strength in that game versus Soma. We'll see if he's able to all kill here today, because there's a pretty good chance in his current form that he's capable of doing so.
What's your predictions? Do you feel like Protoss are going to fight back and be able to take this finals, or do you feel like with the revive still in the pocket for Soma and the likes of Jaedong as well in reserve, do you think this is going to be too much of a tall order for Protoss, or what would you rate their chances?
I think Protoss has a pretty good chance of winning. I'd maybe give them like a 60-40 to win this. But I think there's a non-zero chance that Bisu runs through everybody else in this squad, and then they have to revive Soma. And we're going to see an epic, you know, best of 3 between Bisu and Soma. I think that could possibly happen. 9 pool with the extractor trick here from Action, afraid of a little bit of early pressure, but it's actually just going to be a Forge expand from Bisu, which bodes well for him.
I guess it could also potentially punish like a Nexus First as well, right? Like you keep that ability alive as well. And this is a macro map, so Nexus First, slightly common. And if you get lucky and say Bisu was bottom left and you Overlord scout him first, and you see the Nexus first, you can commit into those lings more and more and just ram it down and get a quick win that way. Let's see here though, it's going to be cross map, so I doubt these lings will do a whole lot, and obviously the Protoss can just make 2 cannons and be absolutely safe against this, and nothing will really occur as a result. But it does also make it harder for Bisu to say bully action by this pylon blocking, for example, will not be as nearly as effective. He'll have to cancel that because the lings can just chew through it and what have you. Will at least force action to take that natural at the 3rd, but since it's a forge and not a gateway expansion, that won't be too big of a deal either.
I think Bisu may be getting greedy here. He's just gonna make 1 cannon. It's okay. Like you could just build a gateway and put 2 or 3 probes to make sure that you don't
Still risky
get
though,
past.
right?
It's a bit risky for sure. If Action gets in here with like 2 or 3 lings, he's really gonna regret this, but he should be able to hold on. Yeah, just gonna attack this gate and forge, and it looks like Action not gonna attempt the fates here, try to dive in. It's all right. I mean, it's a really hard decision, honestly. You could kill 2-3 probes, maybe even slip into the main, but you could also lose everything and kill like 1 probe and then be in a huge disadvantage.
As a Zerg, if I was going to attempt that, I wouldn't do it with 6. I'd wait for the additional 2 lings to show up, so I've got 8, and then attempt it. And I feel like I would have a much stronger chance of either killing the cannon or getting at least a few lings into the main. I feel like he had enough tempo to do that and potentially go for an 8-ling run by timing. But it's also a lot safer to not go for those plays. So yeah, Bisu gonna get away with a bit of greed. This isn't the greediest thing that Bisu could have done, but honestly, getting away with just 1 cannon versus a 9 pool and only needing 2 probes to block, that's about as good as it gets for Protoss in this situation against a 9 pool.
Yeah, he's definitely min-maxed pretty well. Ooh, lings being made. He's going for speed. We're gonna see a run by here. Action might just kill Bisu right now and completely upset what we were thinking was going to happen. He's spreading out everywhere, you can see, with these lings to make sure that there's nothing that can possibly scout this all incoming. And while there's 1 zealot here, if it ends up with 2 zealots in the wall and Bisu doesn't move out, this is going to fall completely flat. But if anything else happens, there's a very good chance that Action can win this.
Yeah, he's kind of hoping that Bisu maybe made a 2nd cannon and either attacks with the Zealots and pokes out. I don't know, actually. Like, this isn't optimal at all. I don't get this from Action again. So like if I'm gonna do a ling run by, I'm doing it with 8 before there's even zealots on the board. I don't wait for mass lings and then hope for the best. I feel like you're gambling way too much as a Zerg in this situation. Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
Wow, this is a very big gamble for sure. It is certainly a big gamble, and we may see Action just dive and just try to kill the gateway. Like, he can't do anything.
He can make a forge behind that, right?
He can, and okay, he can just kind of block with probes too. 3rd zealot here. Everything's just gonna die. Like, very nice probe, very nice probe control here, but it's pretty clear that this is what's gonna happen. As soon as he makes another gateway, you're screwed. Yeah, there's the 2nd gateway. No way to bust this. No way to bust this at all.
I don't agree with that at all. Saying it is what it is. Like, you know, I just do not think that was the good plan from Action at all. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like what would have been better plays if he did like a speedling with a 973 behind it and just have like 4 to 6 hydras to shoot the cannon over the wall, and then the lings do their job afterwards. this variation of Ling Bust, I don't think works with the configuration that Bisu has. I think the only way you make mass Lings work there is if Bisu makes a mistake and comes out with the Zealots, or you get like 4 or 5 Hydras with not even speed. You could just give them range only, or just speed and not even get range and snipe the cannon over the wall or whatever, and then break through that way. I don't agree with this at all from Action.
You know, I think this would be fine if you went for the Ling run by. Like we were talking about it. Do you go for the Ling run by? Do you not? If you're gonna Ling all in after, you might as well go for the Ling run by. If you get a couple Lings or 3 Lings into the main base, you just run around in the main. Try to do some harassment, keep the Protoss player busy, and then you come in from behind to try to kill the cannon when the Ling all in comes. But with nothing inside the main, like just acting coy there at the front at the beginning and not diving in and trying to get Ling spy, it's set him up to fail here unless a huge mistake from Bisu occurred, just kind of randomly moving out with Zealots.
Yeah, I feel like that was too much of a gamble. I mean, it's not even a coin flip at that point. Like, Bisu has no reason to push out with Zealots at that junction in the game. You shouldn't even move out with Zealots at that point unless you've got 2 cannons. And the whole point of his opening was to be greedy and not have to make 2 cannons. So yeah, I feel like that's a complete miscalculation there from Action. And you're right, I feel like if you want to do this, you go for the 8-Ling run by initially and then turn it into an all-in Ling afterwards, and yeah, this just doesn't work, and Bisu potentially will just smash Action now. Like, I don't think there's much counterplay available to Action to come back. He's half the supply of Bisu. He's going to try and get some Hydras out, see what he can do, but the reality is like, a Protoss shouldn't lose the game like 95 times out of 100 from this position at least.
What Action's going to do is he's going to try to run around and go for the run by with the Lings. These Lings are going to be kind of useless anyway because of... 2 Zealots in the wall. All right. Yeah, Action is cooked. There's no way. Like, if you can run in and kill the cannon, maybe it's worth. Like, maybe you can do something here. But as it stands, like,
well,
there's no way.
But he actually did something good. He delayed the other Zealots arriving by having 1 Hydra out in front. So he cleared up a few of the Zealots in piecemeal. The problem is that even that is not going to be enough on the trade. So yeah, Action still has to tap out regardless. It was a nice idea from him to try and split those Zealots up and deal with them a few at a time, but not enough. And quick equalizer here for the Protoss squad, giving even more hope of a total turnaround. Stalk and Shuttle dealt with easily, but now just Queen Jaedong and a revive in the pocket of the Zerg squad to fight with.
All right, Bisu versus Jaedong. I'm going to be sending out Jaedong next. Love to see it. Going to be opening with an early pool here. Actually, what is this? 5 pool? Did I just see a 5 pool there from Jaedong? Oh boy, 5 pool on Litmus is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna get scouted for sure by this probe. No way to avoid it.
Well, I mean, you can block the ramp with the drone, though. So, I mean, maybe not get scouted, but it should be super suspicious that he's blocking the ramp like this. Like, you should be smelling some kind of crazy pull timing. The only thing is this won't be 4 pull if you're blocking the ramp like this. So he knows it's like, 5 pull, 7 pull, 9 pull, some variation thereof. With a 5 pull, you can transition out of it. You don't have to be super all in with it. You can try and turn it into a normal game, but the reality is like, you're pretty committed. Like, you have to do something with it. So let's see. The cannon will start it at a reasonable timing, but not enough to shut this down. You have to pull like 7 at least probes here to block this.
2 openings as well to deal with. It's a little bit harder than what we had there on Radeon. He's going to have a bit of time to really set this up. Probes are going to be pulled over to that left-hand side. Ooh, the Lings are actually getting by. Cannon going to get surrounded. Very nice around here. Looks like he's going to get the cannon, but barely every Ling dies. Wow. Wow, 2 Lings left, and he's got to be building drones back at home right now. He can't be continuing to build Lings.
Well, Zealot's going to be on the way as well here. But he might be able to make this work still. Like, if he did make it, he did make some Lings. So he could continue this aggression. Gonna come down to a lot of micro here. Does beautiful micro though from Bisu, catching one of those Zerglings, takes the sting away from Jaedong a little bit, and can also start to plug up the gaps while waiting for that Zealot to pop out. It will be in time to help block this wall, so he will have a pretty secure natural now. But I mean, maybe Jaedong can still make this work. It's, you know, 4 Lings beat 1 Zealot, but you know, Jaedong's got to run around the right-hand side and hopefully doesn't get blocked too much by the probes. He has got another pair of Lings on the way. Oh, he just took a damage for free though. He loses a Ling. Bit of miss micro from Jaedong. Used hold position to avoid disaster, but it cost him a Ling regardless.
2 Zealots now should easily be enough to fight this. Maybe Jaedong can run by into the main. No. Not gonna happen. Pylon blocking the natural as well. Super annoying. Zealot gets surrounded. This is a wacky game, dude. This is a crazy, crazy game now. And Lings are going to run by into the main. Okay, opens up a little bit of hope here for Jaedong getting into the main with his 5 pool now.
Yeah, I mean, Jaedong Lings used to be so scary back in the day. To see if he can go back to that previous glory. Kills both of those probes as they transit back to the main mineral line. He's got 2 additional Zerglings trying to get into the main base. Has an opportunity to surround one of those Zealots. He probably should try and pressure the Zealot in the natural now. Ignore the Zealots in the main and kill this gateway down. He could also keep all of the Zerglings in the main base. I think both plans of action are good for Jaedong, actually. He can either stay in the main and harass the natural with additional Lings. I think that's the option he's going to go for. Probably the highest win percentage, honestly. My first thought of bringing everything down to clear that. Has the suboptimal issue of them being able to block the ramp with 2 Zealots and a probe after the fact and have a small comeback mechanic, but they have no production after that, so still probably a win for the Zerg no matter what here. Jaedong has done an absolute masterclass of navigating this against Bisu, forces the GG and keeps Zerg's hopes at a victory strong and alive.
Wow, I'm surprised that ended up going Jaedong's way, man. The block with the probes was really solid. Really solid indeed, but just barely got enough damage there. That wasn't enough to make a second cannon. I mean, we're talking like 1 or 2 hits were left in that Ling that killed the cannon. If that lives, the game goes to Bisu, but here Jaedong will advance. Coming off of that seriously wacky game resulting from the 5 pool there. Jaedong now here in the bottom left. Snow top left. And what prompted Jaedong to go 5 pool versus Bisu? That's crazy to me, man. That is really wild. Bisu hasn't really shown huge greed in any of these games so far, and he didn't really have that big greed last game either.
Yeah. Let's see what happens now, because that might put the fear of God into these Protoss gamers playing against Jaedong, right? Like, Snow is going to be playing probably quite safe now. Like, can you imagine if Snow has the balls to go Nexus first in this situation? Like, you can't imagine. I doubt it. I mean, he's going to be scouting Jaedong first, so he could actually go for that, but I don't think so. I feel like he's going to play a bit more orthodox and just make a slightly, you know, delayed forge at around about 12.5 or 13 or whatever it is, and be pretty safe. I doubt he's going to go for a Nexus first here, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's really dangerous against... Oh, actually, this is overpool, so you can get away with it. Oh, is he going to do it? No. Okay, there goes the probe.
Well, you can still make the forge at 13, right?
Yeah, he's sent the probe now. He's going to go ahead and take that now. So, forge here. It's on time. Overpool, you can get a little greedy, but it is quite risky. You end up having to pull more probes, and if any Lings get in, Jaedong's gonna really hurt your economy. So Snow doing the middle of the road thing, just being cautious, and we'll see if he can cut any corners elsewhere as this build progresses.
Yeah. Oh, is that a little bit of suboptimal mining here from Jaedong? Drone actually ended up going to the back of the patches, and not the most optimal opening, but it's okay. He avoided a Nexus first, and you know, no real delays on this hatchery besides having to make it at the 3rd, which isn't a big deal. It's not that big of a distance. I would say we might finally see somewhat of an orthodox opening from both players, and potentially a very nice mid to late game transition I mean, it's not likely, but this could transition into being a very fun game. Jaedong could obviously go for a 973 still. That gas is pretty early. Does line up with a Ling speed Hydra Bust that he could go for if he wanted to.
Yeah, let's see what he does here, because his third base doesn't have gas. It's obvious, but it does make a big difference in this matchup. If you don't have that third gas right away, it limits what's possible, right? Like, you can't throw down 3 gas and go for a Mutalist build, right? Try to do Ogre Zerg.
Or Mass Lurker.
Go in. Yeah, you can't go quick Mass Lurker. You can build a lot of Lurkers, but then you have to rely pretty heavily on Lings early on. And Lings they're kind of bad until you have some upgrades and crack and get some plagues down. That's when they really come into their own. But relying on them once the Protoss player has +1, they're ahead of you in upgrades as compared to your Carapace upgrades, it's rough. Here comes the Hydra.
Yeah,
okay, he's going to go for possibly a Hydraless bust here, maybe a fake one. But I think what we've discovered from this map, Knockout, is that Hydra Bust is still very viable here. Even with this ditch out in front that's supposedly going to make it hard to bust, Hydras can still do their work by just running up as close as possible to the wall and gunning down the cannons quickly.
Yeah, to avoid sounding too verbally verbose, mineral only third basically means you're more Hydra-centric no matter what you're doing. So Jaedong in this instance has elected to go for a 973 pressure play. Doesn't necessarily have to commit to that, make it an all-in. This trench in front of the natural, we've talked about it a lot, with that mischance, makes attacks like this a lot less potent. Well, he catches the scouting probe in a really big way as well. Snow has no idea about this coming. So, and Jaedong was trying to obfuscate it anyway. You can see he's got a lot more drones mining at the third than the natural, especially because of making that hatchery there as well. So as long as he stops the drone getting into the natural, it's going to be so hard for Snow to identify that this is going to be a Hydra follow-up. I wonder if he's even going to be able to defend this despite having the trench in front of him.
I think it gives you a bit of a false sense of security. That trench is not nearly as impactful as we originally thought. 2 zealots on the map now. Gonna look for whatever information they can find. They don't see anything here, but he's afraid to try to commit these out on the map. And unfortunately for him, he may end up... Oh, he puts down a 3rd cannon. Dude, Snow's so smart. He can cancel this if he sees no Hydra Bust incoming. But he's going to see it. He's going to let that finish, and he's going to be much better off for it. Let's see when he sees the Hydra. There it is. He sees it. He sees it. 3rd cannon going to finish. He's going to start the 4th and the 5th. He's got 3 zealots to work with, and he can pull probes with the Corsair vision out on the map. Let's see if he can hold on against this. Probes are coming off the line. Zealot just pops out. Probe's going to get in the way of this. Very nice probe drill here. It's going to help out a lot. Only 1 cannon goes down, and... I mean, this is a hold if I've ever seen one. Snow is going to be holding this with flying colors.
Yeah, that Corsair enables him to probe drill by being able to see the mineral field of Jaedong's in his natural. So beautiful probe drill as a result, and yeah, shutting that down at least for the time being in a very masterful fashion. And as far as the 3rd cannon's concerned, Stay, whenever I've I don't really know how to play Protoss, but whenever I've coached someone in how to play against Zerg as Protoss, that's one of the main things I've talked about, is these hedging your bet cannons and then cancelling them at 99 if you don't have complete information. It seems so necessary playing against Zerg. Jaedong trying to break through now, kills another cannon to open up the ability to snipe this forge. There's still like a good 20, 30 or so seconds until the upgrade would be finished, so he could at least delay that. He's going to be targeting down one of these overlords. He's going to try and commit to that and use the HP of those Corsairs as a resource to try and supply block and disrupt Jaedong's transition. One thing going for Jaedong is that there is a lot of cannons being made behind this, so he is slowing down the production facilities and infrastructure of Snow as a result, and actually killing that pylon supply blocked Snow as well, by the way.
One of those cannons is unpowered as well. Not sure which one it was. He did click on the observer did click on it, but I think it's the one in the front right.
Yes, I think so.
Bottom right. It looks like another pylon finishes up though, and so that will be fully covered. 4th base starts from Jaedong. He's gonna try and transition this into a longer game now. Snow, did he make too many cannons? I mean, usually, from my experience, what I've seen from Snow, he actually stops at 4. Usually when he realizes that the transition is coming, he stops at 4. He's here with 6. That's a lot of commitment. It's going to slow down his gateway ads. Can he transition this? It's going to be a little bit tough. Jaedong in a pretty good spot.
I feel like with this very quick 4th base for Jaedong, Snow's in a bit of trouble, right? Like, it might not seem like a big deal, but having to make this many cannons, and you got supply blocked for a short period of time as well to boot, your upgrade got delayed, like, this is suboptimal for Snow. Like, this would be a bit bad if Jaedong didn't have the 4th base. So having the 4th base and having the oxygen to have some time to squeeze out 6 drones to mine at that 6 o'clock base as well, that's crazy. Like, usually you're not saturating that 4th base this early until you've won a big fight against Protoss after they've tried to push out onto the map. So the fact that he's kind of like leapfrogged having to worry about that entirely, Jaedong is just going to explode in his macro capabilities as a result.
Is looking very good here with Overlord coverage everywhere. It's going to be hard to slip like a little DT in there, deal some damage. That can be a great comeback mechanic though, when the Zerg player has gone this heavy into Hydras and has delayed their Spire Tech by this much. There is a possibility that he could go for like a shuttle or something like that, try to get a DT in there. Looks like he's going to counterattack down towards bottom center. I don't know why Jaedong is this far out with his Hydras right now and not taking into account the possibility of an attack like this. Zealot run by into the natural. Dude, Jaedong is way out of position. This is so bad.
Yeah. This is one way Snow can come back in this game, and it might actually pay off because 2 Zealots in the main base causing some devastation, even catching some of the drones, and killed the hatchery at 6 o'clock. Wow, like very quickly he's turned this game from being terrible into very playable again. I mean, hats off to Snow. He's improved so much in this matchup. Jaedong will be catching some of these Zealots at the 6 o'clock, but there's not enough critical mass of Hydras there to fight them. He's losing drones at the natural as well. Jaedong falling apart a little bit here now, struggling to stabilize after a little bit of disarray sent his way. There was no excuses for Jaedong to be that out of position. I feel like this is a big mistake of just about every Starcraft player under the sun, saying they always overcommit to where their army moves around the map. Like when they're trying to kill a base in the corner, they send the whole army, or they're trying to, you know, adjust defending on a different flank, they send the whole army to defend, and they don't have the ability to quickly adjust on the fly how many units they should commit where. And I feel like that's one of the things that these Starcraft guys need to really work on.
Well, definitely something went wrong there for Jaedong. I mean, putting that much of an army out on the map without proper scanning, like he wasn't able to see the Zealots moving around the outside. You kind of want to just be sitting back with the majority of your army in a time like that. Defending all of these bases, the 4-base economy is going to be so good coming up. As long as you defend it, you're going to be in a good spot, and just have some Overlords and Scouts out on the map. Storm on this first Lurker. I don't see an Observer though, and he wasn't able to get an extra shot onto that. So Lurkers here are going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. He needs to get some great spines on these Zealots if he wants to push through. Still no Observer here. Maybe there's a shot for Jaedong as he tries to push forward. There should be another storm here for this Lurker. There it is. Finally throws down that third storm to get rid of the Lurker. Not quite enough here for Jaedong to stop this third base.
Yeah, he's traded reasonably well, but not well enough, unfortunately. And allowing Snow to get this base up is going to be critically bad for him. That's why he's committing so much. He snipes the Observer in the sky, but hasn't got that many Lurkers to utilize to leverage that small tempo advantage. And Yeah, unfortunately for Jadong, I don't think he's breaking up onto this high ground. And yeah, with the mineral-only third base, there's not enough gas to make much lurkers either. He's so hydrocentric. Without that third gas at the 6 o'clock to operate from at the moment, he's in a little bit of trouble. He's going to re-establish that now. He's just now getting that base back online, and will be able to utilize the mineral field and gas there. You can see he's going to rush taking the gas down there. That's the main thing. He needs to get 3 gas geysers going as quickly as possible. Might be too late though for him in the curve of this game. Snow, with this expansion, can now double expand to the 12 o'clock and start to run away with this game potentially.
I think he's already run away with it, Shun. He's going to take the 12 o'clock with some confidence. Really no way for Jadong to break that right now. He's just got to sit back and protect this 4th base. Like, if Snow comes across the map right now with the army that he has, it's going to take absolutely everything Jadong has in this game to stop it from just bowling him over completely. And there's like 4 different locations that he has to defend, by the way. So maybe it is okay to just counterattack right now, or just try to attack into Snow, because at least then you can focus your forces. If he has to defend all the different locations here, the natural, the 3rd, and the 4th, where there's multiple ways into the 4th as well, that's too much of a spread. He's not going to have enough lurkers.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but I just don't see a window for him to come in and punish Snow. The reality is that forcing a fight at the 4th, while it's usually the right decision, it's very choked up and easy for Snow to hold that location as well with a few good storms. So yeah, not many good counterplays available to Jadong for the time being. He's kind of banking on Snow making a mistake for the time being. He's going to need to grow himself and take the bottom right as well. Should be expanding and trying to split the map in half and getting enough lurkers out that he can maintain a position out on the open field, but whether or not that's a tenable position or not is another matter entirely, but it is technically a good way of coming back in this game from Jadong. So I don't disagree with him going for this, because he kind of needs to have any chance at winning the late game at this point.
Okay, I understand what Jadong's doing. He's setting up 2 different lurker lines, one on the left side of the middle of the map, one on the right side of the middle of the map. That at least just splits it into 2 different spots rather than, you know, 4 different locations to defend. So it makes a bit of sense. Let's see if he can react in time when Snow decides to dive in. If he attacks the left-hand side, he's got to bring the right-hand side around to try and get the surround going. Let's see if he can make that work, because this is a very difficult spot.
Yeah, it's going to be tough either way, and he's going to have to remain fluid with his army movements to reinforce which location Snow decides to push. And Snow, if he's clever, could also sometimes just run it down the center and avoid both of those lurker fields at the same time. And as long as he doesn't allow his army to get too pinned down in that corridor, could explode onto that 6 o'clock base and take it out before Jadong gets in position to retaliate. Looks like Snow has identified that the right-hand flank is far less defended and is going to destroy that. But did pick off the Observer, Jadong, so to try and slow this force down. And there's not a lot of Storm available to Snow to kill lurkers without detection, so that's going to buy Jadong a little bit of time. Although Snow is going to be able to go down uncontested towards knocking out this newly established base in the bottom right corner if he wanted to. He could just send a few Zealots down there to do that. Doesn't want to commit his whole force.
Massive counterattack from Jadong, just sending it all. Looks like things are getting a little bit jammed up, though, as they try to cross the map. And so he's actually going to get caught here. A lot of Hydras go down. Lurkers are doing a pretty good job kind of catching some of these units, killing a lot of these Zealots. But it's so hard to stay coordinated with this army. And in fact, he's going to turn around and head back home, trying to save the bottom right. I don't think he can save that, though. With this many Zealots hitting it, the DPS too high.
This is exactly what Snow should have done. Split off a few Zealots to come clear this out. Keep your army mobile to deflect any counterattacks. Snow can now start to split the map on his side of things and just create a curve that's insurmountable for Jaedong to climb. Look at this. This Nexus is already almost finished here in the top right natural, and plenty of cannons there to set up and make it hard to thwart without the support of Defilers as well. This is getting rougher and rougher for Jaedong. He has finally got that Hive tech out. Hasn't yet got the Defiler tech, I don't think, but we'll have cracklings and, you know, additional upgrades to go into, but without Defiler support, I think he's going to have a tough time.
Yeah, you need to survive to Defiler at this point. That's kind of your only hope as Jaedong. He's gonna try to batten down, and I mean, this army is pushing in pretty hard. Maybe he can get a big surround and kill. He's baiting out some storms. There's not that many storms left over, and he might be able to surround this, prevent the retreat. Here we go, running right up on top of it. Lurkers get in range, but they're going to be stormed down. All of them end up going down, and the Dragoons will slip out the back door. Another round of Hydra Ling, though, making its way forward. Can he make it work? Two High Templar get picked off there. That's big kills from Jaedong, and, you know, this is great. But I don't think he can counterattack after this. I think he can just, after this army goes down, build a bunch of drones and saturate bottom right.
Well, do you know what's great about this is that we might have a really crazy long macro game now. Like, he killed the majority of Snow's army, so Snow will want to just sit back and kind of make lots of units and just re-secure his position by defending the top right.
He's not defending bottom right.
I don't know, man.
Jaedong not defending bottom right. He's going to lose possibly
that's
this hatchery again. I thought that he might go down here and just, you know, build drones and just sit back in the defensive position, but he sent a lot of the army up top right. This is something that I'm also guilty of doing. It's like, I just won a big fight. Let's counterattack. But if your position's not good enough, like, you kind of just have to sit back, take what you can get, and, you know, get these other bases online and look towards the late game. Defiler tech is now operational, but, like, at least he didn't throw his army away trying to attack top right. Like, that would be worst case scenario. Now he's still got an army together, and he's managed to save both of these hatcheries, so I think this is okay for Jaedong.
Yeah, he's sniping a lot of High Templars as well, taking a bit of steam out of the engine of Snow. The problem is that Jaedong has to fight for 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock in a late game scenario and not allow Snow to take either of those bases, while also winning fights on the open field and keeping Snow on that northern hemisphere. Gonna be easier said than done. Snow's now considering running it down that center corridor, but it's a bit risky because his army could just get cut off and isolated. And that's one of the ways of losing the game. So he's not going to go for that. He's going to rotate around to the right-hand side flank instead and just skirmish with Jaedong and try and force Jaedong into some bad trades. Cycle out some of this precious storm energy that he's got. That's a pretty monstrous storm. Though Jaedong being very active with his army and dodging some of those storms. That's a big storm, though, ripping through a lot of those Hydras. Jaedong's doing a good job of setting up flanks and what have you, but it's not enough. Snow's still finding ways of breaking through. Jaedong's done such a good job of keeping Snow at bay for so long, but now, finally, Snow has found the one window to really punish Jaedong. He's going to come down to his bottom right and kill both of these hatcheries, force out a GG, and now there's only Queen left to get up to the plate and start hoping that Zerg can turn it all around. At the moment, this is looking like it could be a Protoss victory, San.
It's very much looking like a Protoss victory as we jump into our next game. Queen spawning here in the top right. Snow in the top left. Nobody going to be taking home that all-kill prize. 1,200,000 won still on the table. And so that'll be pushed forward into our next season of KCM, guys. Season 4 will probably be returning around the time when the finals is being played for the ASL, I think. Sometimes they take 2 weeks off. Sometimes they just take the 1 week off. So we'll see. With the ASL rounding out around the time when it should be starting, I think we're going to see them take the full 2 weeks, but we'll let you guys know.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I hope that this goes the distance now. Like, this could go back and forth. Like, both teams might end up needing to use their revives, and we might go to a final game. Queen hasn't been performing to his usual standards as of late, and Snow kind of has been exceeding his own. So my prediction is Snow will slap down Queen here and force a Zerg revive on Soma, and then I imagine Soma might take a game off Snow, and then potentially if Snow plays well against Soma, they'll revive Snow. We'll have a rematch, like a best of 3 rematch kind of at the end. But we'll see.
That would be a lot of fun. Maybe they revive Bisu to take down Soma, because he did a good job earlier. There's also the potential that they bring back Jaedong for a rematch against Snow. That could happen as well. But I think it's less likely. Just depends on how Soma's feeling, right? Maybe Soma doesn't want to play.
That's really annoying. He's blocking that hatchery at the 3rd quite a lot. He's still doing it.
Yeah. Okay, he finally gets it down. Very frustrating. Little mini game here with the 2 Lings running around, just keeping the Zealot busy, but that probe definitely doing a lot. Oh, great block. Great block here.
Wow.
He gets it. He gets it. Oh my gosh, he's right on it. Oh, man.
Still alive?
I swear, those probes, man, absolutely greased up.
They're so nimble, man. Like, they're literally the most nimble unit in the game. It's insane.
So hard to track down with these Lings, but he finally does get the kill. Just 2 Zealots out on the map. 8 Lings have been produced, so that's definitely enough to shut this down. Queen moving out with those now, but Zealots are already on their way back home. This is a good play from Snow to just hide these Zealots and kind of force a bit of a response.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping we see another mid to late game transition, but we'll see. He's going to put a bit of pressure onto the wall now. The cannon will be pretty late, so he could try and put some damage onto the gateway. I don't think he's capable of killing it in time or anything like that. There's just too many Zealots that are finished up, and a 5th will be popping out in just a few moments here, unless he's doing some weird build order and cutting on that so he can squeeze out faster tech timings and what have you.
Ling all in, Ling all in. Oh my gosh, Ling all in. Yeah.
If he skipped the Zealot, to min-max, this could work. Like, if there's no 5th Zealot that's about to pop out, this could actually work.
Let's see it. He's gonna break this. He should be going after that Zealot on the bottom side. Another pylon gets thrown down in the wall. Gets another Zealot. He kills the Zealot on the bottom side. There's only 1 Zealot left. Queen seconds away from potentially winning this. Just the probe standing in the way here. Great surround with the probes. Only a few Zerglings could actually attack the cannon, but he makes it in. That's a lot of Lings in the main, man. He holds on, but he's barely alive.
Snow skipped the Zealot. If he had just made that 5th Zealot, I think he would have been fine. Oh, man. And Queen even has Hydra support to follow this up. So even if the Zerglings don't finish the job, like, he can still follow this up with a Hydra bust. He's got lots of Speedlings streaming in. He can also rotate these Zerglings down to the natural to help break the cannon from both sides in just a moment if he so desires. He's going to go for that now. There's 1 cannon, but Lings from both sides. The other cannon's finishing up. Does actually get a pretty good round with those probes preemptively preventing Queen from just ending the game. But like I said, there's going to be Hydras behind this as well. Snow doing a good job of stabilizing, given the rough position, but still in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out what's going on, what's coming behind this. If he slips out a probe, he slipped out a probe. Ooh, dude.
Snow is so good. Snow is so good.
Yeah. Like, it's, if you're playing the game right now, us as casters, we can definitely see that slipping a probe out would be the best possible scenario. But, like, when you're playing this game, how hard is it to realize, like, oh, I need to slip out a probe?
Yeah.
Like, you're already so hurt in your economy. Losing 1 more probe is going to be so painful, but he absolutely needs to get this information, and he's going to get it just in the nick of time. As long as he builds cannons, he should be fine.
Yeah, he's going to see exactly how many drones have been made, and the fact that there's this quick Hydra Den in the main. He's going to have a very good idea of how to min-max against this now. As a result, can you imagine if Snow wins this game? Like, how good do you have to be to win from this position? How nuts is that?
Well, this is the first step. The probe getting out on the map and getting that scouting information. You know, as Queen, he just like he's gritting his teeth right now. Like, that was not supposed to get out on the map. He's got 10 speedlings sitting in front of the natural, and he allowed that to get out. Like, he is so mad right now, but he kind of has to do something different here. Like, build whatever 10 hydras or something, kill the wall, or you know, make a transition happen. Like, he can't just do what he was planning to do. Otherwise, I think Snow will just shut it down. There it is, Lair on the way. He's gonna make some drones after making this many hydras and just try to put the pressure on while transitioning.
One thing going for Queen is that this pylon is kind of blocking cannons from being placed in the back line, so Snow can't get an optimal line of cannons to deal with this. He might have enough to break this still, actually. He's going to pounce on it now. Snow might have overestimated how safe he was. Should have made more cannons to defend. I think Queen's still going to do it. This is a bit of an oversight from Snow. He was way too complacent, thinking that Queen was going to fully transition after that fact and not commit into that Hydra Blast play. Zerg still pulling out ahead. There's a revive, though, in the pocket. I'm not so sure they're going to give it to Snow after that performance now. I think it's going to be Bisu saying.
Bisu has been revived. Snow just not responding correctly there. There's no real reason not to throw down the 4th cannon. I mean, if you completely know that there's not going to be a Hydra bust, sticking on 3 cannons is fine there, but like, he scouted it. He assumed that it was going to be a switch up there from Queen, but was a little bit too presumptuous. Now Snow is out, and Bisu, who carried the squad in the early parts of this series with 2 kills on the board already, has been revived and will go up against Queen next here on Metropolis. Guys, this has been a fantastic series so far, but we're on match point. Time to shout out the Patreon page for the Saiyan Shun Duo cast. It's been going very well as of late. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you'd like to support all the different casts, not just the KCM, but the ASL, our SCSL casts, and many more in the future to come, I believe we're gonna have more co-casts coming up soon. Other tournaments are going to present themselves for sure. We're going to be ready for those, and you guys are going to be supporting us on Saiyan Shun Duocast at patreon.com.
Yeah, I think Saiyan puts a little link in the description if you want to find that a bit easier. Appreciate you guys so much. It's been kind of overwhelming how much you have been supporting us, and honestly, I've gone through a few rough things recently, and that's one of the things that's really uplifted me and made me smile no matter what's happening, is knowing that you guys love and support us as much as you do, and helping us continue to do what we love for potentially many, many years to come. So big shout out to all of you guys, and thank you ever so much.
We're getting into this game now, and Gateway first here from Bisu. Great block from Queen to start off. He's going to be making 6 lings and putting on the pressure here early against Bisu. We're going to have a bit of that early game back and forth that we're used to with the lings trying to slip past this Gateway and Zealots. Zealots actually just going to turn around and head back home. Gonna get the surround here. Ooh, really close to that surround.
Yeah,
Zealot
it's kind of a
will run back
sword.
home.
Because you kind of want to let the probe get into a surround situation just to, you know, shave off a few Zerglings' second timing to arrive to that natural as well, right? Like, you want to block a little bit with the probe, but not so much that the probe dies. So Bisu kind of navigated that and got a few seconds of delay without actually using the probes. That's pretty good. Needs to be careful with the positioning of these Zealots and try and get a situation where you can start to save this Gateway but waiting for the probes to come out first. So far, beautifully done by Bisu. Let's see if he can maintain this position, because it's not easy to do this. Oh, he's glitching out his own Zealots a little bit, and one of them gets around in the back line. Gateway very low on HP as well. Is somehow Queen going to beat Bisu right now? That would be insane. More Zerglings showing up behind this. Cannon's just now finishing. He doesn't hold the line. Zerglings are going to better run by. He will save the cannon for now, but that many speedlings getting into your main base without a cannon being on the way there is problematic, to say the least, Saiyan.
Oh my goodness, another Ling all in from Queen. I mean, it just keeps working. He keeps on Ling all inning, and it just keeps working. There's the photon cannon in the main base. Gas is finally going to be thrown down as well, but Bisu has been put behind the curve in a massive way. What's that heading over towards top center? Is that a probe? I think he just spotted that with a probe. How funny would it be if he cannon rushed that hatchery right now? I don't think he's going to do it, but that's something that happens pretty often on the ladder, and it can be so painful.
Yeah. The cannon actually will finish in the main and will shut this down completely. So, I mean, not much has been lost by Bisu, but this isn't a full-in committal from Queen either. He's going to be transitioning out of this into a pretty standard game, getting his lair online, no Hydra Den, getting his third base mining. But you're right, this would be hilarious if he went for a cannon rush up here, but you can see Queen knows that as well. That's why these two Zerglings showed up now to check for that. So that's why you rarely see at the pro level them trying to cannon rush a third base. It's just so unlikely to be successful at this high echelon of play.
Yeah, it's not good. It's just, if you're really busy macroing as a Zerg and microing Lings in your opponent's base, you might not do that. You might not send Lings over there to check the third. It's just Queen is a really high level, and he's actually going to be on top of that as well. He gets a probe here in the natural, and he's continuing to be super annoying, although his ability to deal damage is a little bit limited in that there's now a cannon in the main. Can he get this probe? No. Probe in the main actually scouts everything. He sees the timing on the Spire and everything. He knows that he's probably not going to be able to get an Overlord kill at all, because this timing is so good on the Spire, but at least he gets to see exactly what's coming here from Queen.
I actually think this is a really good game. Like, there's been a lot of craziness that's happened, but neither player is ridiculously ahead. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's great that Queen got these Lings into the main, but Bisu hasn't taken critical damage by any stretch of the imagination. This is still a very reasonable play state, but he's doing double Stargate, saying, why do we keep seeing this so much? Like, maybe players know something we don't. I just don't like it that much. It might work out in this occasion though, because he's gone for an early second gas, but he is now transitioning and making a Hydra Den. He might not commit into these Mutalisks after all.
Whoa, another run by almost just happened there at the natural. You know, I don't like double Stargate Corsair at all. Oh god, and he's even gonna see it. Oh no. Well,
oh jeez.
I mean, this is worst case scenario, but I was gonna say, Bisu is that one guy who's like, okay, you can pull off the double Stargate. I don't like it, but this is his build.
Okay.
Yeah, if he's doing it's okay. I'll accept it. I'll let it slide.
That's very courteous of you saying. So generous.
Yes. I'm the most generous. Anyway, Bisu, he's gonna try and pull it off. It's been completely scattered by Queen. I think we just see a lot of Hydras pop out immediately. Yeah, here they come.
Yeah.
Tons of Hydras. He's just gonna glom up the Overlords together here in two different spots, and he knows that there's not going to be many Templar early on, so he doesn't have to worry too much about DTs slipping in or anything like that.
Yeah, potentially Bisu could be playing into Queen's hands. I mean, it's very common to try and fake out the Protoss and make them overcommit into their air defense and then switch into Mass Hydra as an afterthought. And yeah, can really put you in a bad spot as Protoss. But, you know, we said just a moment ago, Bisu is so good with his Corsairs. Maybe he can still leverage this into a good position. We'll have to wait and see. He's going to lose a Corsair to start things off. That's not how you want the cookie to begin to crumble this early on, saying only 4 Corsairs in the sky makes it impossible to shut down those Scourge as they barrel down towards you. He needs to wait for additional Corsairs to show up before he pressures now.
I believe that was like, was that 6 Scourge that killed that Corsair? I think it was something like that, 4 or 5. So quite a lot of Scourge ended up diving in on that. And so there's no more Scourge here, which is something. Maybe he can still make this work. I mean, losing one early Corsair, it hurts a lot, but it doesn't hurt as much when you're doing double Stargate, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to be able to hit that critical mass pretty quick.
Yeah, the only problem is that it does, you know, siphon off a little bit of your gas as well, and you're kind of strapped for gas when you're doing this build, which slows down your Templar tech and production a little bit. So there is a few things to consider. That means that BC will have to cut constant Corsair production to compensate, so you would better like dive in with 10 Corsairs really early on and gun down the Overlords while being shot by some Hydras and stuff like that. Seeing the Zerg move out, he has to dive now. He has to go with these Corsairs now to get some compensation while making cannons back at home.
Yeah, you have to make this many cannons because you're not going to have high Templar tech in time. Queen has a lot of Hydras making their way to the front here, but this is a good number of Zealots to try and block this. He should be able to keep him back behind the wall. 2 more cannons are about to fall. Here's the High Templar. The first one makes its way to the front. Zealots diving in onto the 3rd base. Hold on. Oh, the High Templar goes down. Oh my god, he let the High Templar walk way too far forward. He needs to head to the natural with the Corsairs. Go kill the Overlords over there as well. So many cannons are here at the natural. So many cannons, but so many Hydras as well. He's got to pull more probes. Pull more probes. Pull all the probes. You got to stay alive here. He's denied everything at the 3rd base. The probes get out into a pretty good position. High Templar still waiting on the storm. Still waiting on the storm. Just 2 more cannons. 1 more finishes up here. 1 more is going to go down. He's got the storm. There's the storm. It barely comes out in time. How much damage has been done? Oh my god, the hatchery went down there. The hatchery went down, but the cannons are falling. The cannons are falling, Shun, and there's only a few Zealots here at the front.
Yes, it's not looking good for Bisu still. He could break through. I feel like he killed a couple of Overlords, but not nearly enough. He needed to go on a rampage, non-stop, sweeping the map and killing every Overlord in sight to supply block Queen, so he couldn't reinforce this front line with more and more Hydras as they were dying. He hasn't been able to do that, so there is going to be a massive amount of Hydras that are about to start flooding into his natural gates. He's got just a handful of speedlots trying to hold the line like the defense of Aya right now. Definitely going to be a bit of history repeating itself. I don't think Bisu can hold on. He's going to try and dive onto the Overlords and maybe save the day with some Dark Templars. Definitely a good gambit, but it's not going to be quick enough. GG is called, and Queen, I would say, upsets things by shutting down Bisu and getting the win for the Zerg squad. I did not think that Queen was going to be the hero today.
Oh, wow, Shun. I don't think we got to see the full kind of picture there in that last game with Queen, you know, diving in on that natural and Bisu going to work on the 3rd and looking for Overlords. I was kind of watching the mini map there though, and it seemed like I'm not 100% sure on this, but it seemed like Queen had every single Overlord all grouped together, running around the map, hiding from the Corsairs. Like I saw like a bulb of Overlords kind of hiding at the bottom left corner of the main base, and as the Corsairs were flying around, he was just barely able to sneak them around the side. Go back and watch that game, guys, if you're interested in seeing how he was able to not get supply block there, because that was the really big key thing of that game, was that as the attack was going on, Queen wasn't supply block. If he gets supply block there and isn't able to keep making Hydras to break that, we would have seen Bisu hold, but he just couldn't find the Overlords.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. I mean, Bisu was just too focused on how he was positioning his probes and zealots and, you know, constantly churning out as many units as possible while building as many cannons as possible. He couldn't even pay attention to hunting down those Overlords in a timely manner, unfortunately. And Queen kind of fighting back strong in the scene, I would say. Like, he's been kind of in a slump for a while now, but he's starting to bite back and show us that he's still a strong contender. Yet another Zerg to keep your eyes on now that Sulky is kind of taking a bit of a mental hiatus from his dominance of the scene. So many great Zerg players to be excited by. So if you're a Zerg fan, it's a great time to be alive with the likes of Lava, Soma, Jaedong, Effort, all playing so good and coming back into the scene in a big way recently. And yeah, I mean, Protoss, despite having improved a lot in this versus Zerg matchup, still have to go back to the lab and do some more work.
Yeah, there's so many great Zerg players right now. Like you said, great time to be a Zerg fan. Also a great time to be a Protoss fan, dude. So many good Protoss right now doing very well in these tournaments as well as in the ASL. Great time to be a Terran fan as well. Lots to mauled over. Lots to, you know, get salty about and comment on Reddit. I mean, it's a great time to be a Starcraft fan in general.
Yeah, it's a win-win for Terran. Either your ace wins or gives you something to moan about. We all know how Terrans love to moan, guys, right? It's what it is, though. But yeah, we have to say that Protoss in general, they've been improving so much against Zerg, especially, right? In the last, like, half a year to a year or so, they looked like they were really struggling, but they've been fighting back really strong and almost came close to smashing Zerg in the finals here at KCM.
I'm surprised how often Queen was going for that Ling all in, but it seems like these strong Protosses are actually a little vulnerable to that. Maybe exposing a weakness for other Zergs to exploit in the ASL potentially. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Possibly. We're going to see some Zerg Ling all-ins here coming up soon. But not too soon, guys. Still a couple of weeks away before we get into the round of 4. So it's going to be a little bit of a break here for KCM and ASL next week. I'm still going to be posting some, you know, ladder games and that sort of thing. I'm going to be streaming and all that good stuff. So come check it out. Anything you want to plug here, Shun, before we go?
No, I'm good, man. I'm just happy to be alive, happy to be with you, casting these great games, and super looking forward to that last few rounds of the ASL. Just down to our final 4. Going to be seriously sick. But a little bit of a hiatus until we cast. I've got a whole week of break coming up now. So I know some of you guys have been struggling to keep up with all the action with KCM going on, as well as the ASL, as well as lots of other matches being casted on people's YouTube pages and what have you. So a little bit of time for you to all catch up, get everything figured out of who's where right now, and you can then come back strong to enjoy the ASL alongside us live. We'll be doing that on SCTVEN at superlive.com. Come and check that out. It's a 7 p.m. standard Korean time most of the occasions. I think that might change a little bit for the finals. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, thanks so much, guys, for supporting us on that Patreon page and showing us enough love to make it even more fun doing what we like to do.
Absolutely, guys. That's it for this season of the KCM. See you guys in season 4.
Thanks, guys.